sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the West.
5 games, 31 home runs. It's been an absolute slugfest. Launch angle, exit velocity, you name it. Without question, StatCast has been overworked in the Yankees and Rangers season series. And by the looks of things, there's no end in sight. Today, Yankee Stadium is the backdrop, and there's a good chance you're going to see your favorite slugger touch them all. Rangers baseball brought to you by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right, and it is Yankee Stadium this afternoon on a dreary, overcast afternoon, but lots of sunshine and smiles coming from that guy. What a night last night for Ronald Guzman. We're ready for Game 3, Rangers and Yankees from Yankee Stadium. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you once again. I'm Dave Ramit alongside CJ Nitkowski, and it was a fun one last night, a unique evening for the Texas Rangers as they took care of the Yankees. But really, Ronald Guzman was not just the star of the show, really, he was the star of the night in Major League Baseball.
He certainly was. It was a historic night for Ronald Guzman when it was all said and done. The 3 home runs, and each of them special in their own way. The first one off of Masahiro Tanaka barely got out, but certainly it counted. The second one, though, got way out of here. Tanaka put that head down once again as Ronald Guzman went up over the Yankees bullpen. And then the third one, the opposite field. This is a lot of what we talked with Guzman, his ability to hit the ball the other way. We really haven't seen it for power, but certainly he did it right there. And check out his family, just really excited all the way up from the Dominican Republic. And it was just a great night for Ronald Guzman. And check out some of these accolades here as far as what happened yesterday. He's the first player all time to hit 3 home runs in his first game at Yankee Stadium. That's certainly a really nice moment. There's some Ranger history in there. He's the first Ranger to homer in 4 straight games against the Yankees. Lots of other great things happening on what was an unbelievable night for Guzman.
Yeah, and you would almost think, by the way we talked about Ronald Guzman last night, that he was the only Ranger to have a big night. The reality is, since the All-Star break, 21 games now, this offense has been rolling.
They have been, and that's certainly some good news here in the second half from what we're seeing from the Texas Rangers as a group. Yes, it was a big night for Guzman. You see Rugen Odor right there. He has been very good, but look at these numbers here since the All-Star break. The runs, the home runs, leading Major League Baseball in hits. That's certainly a really good sign. Slugging percentage, we knew this lineup was going to slug, but it's really been happening in a big way since the break, and of course the OPS and those total bases as well. Some really big games, 10 or more runs in 7 games since the break.
Yeah, that's a third of the games they have played since the All-Star break, double-digit runs. So this offense very much clicking. Now today, the former Twin, now Yankee, Lance Lynn will be the guy charged with trying to slow them down. He's been pretty good for New York.
He has been. 2 appearances for him so far, 1 out of the bullpen, 1 in the rotation. The Yankees were looking for depth. They had some issues with Sonny Gray, some other issues in the rotation, and as they make their postseason run and they try to catch the Boston Red Sox, they were looking for some help in the rotation. So here is Lance Lynn getting ready to make that second start. A guy who's been very good over the course of his career, very consistent. But how about what he's done with the Yankees? 14 strikeouts to just 1 walk so far in his 11 2/3 innings. So that's certainly something they're pleased with, and he'll go against the Rangers this afternoon.
Well, he's dropping himself right into a wild, wild season series. Last night wasn't the only big night we've had. And in fact, when we come back, we'll put this season series in our spotlight. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. By Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. offense in this series.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And for both of these clubs, high-powered offense. We know about the Yankees and the home runs that they have hit this year, leading all of Major League Baseball, and quite possibly could break the all-time record. But in this series, 19 home runs so far this season. The Texas Rangers, 12 of those as well. That OPS for the Yankees at 976 against the Rangers is something they're going to try to do try to maybe slow things down so far in this series. But it has been a lot of back and forth, a lot of high-powered offense, a lot of runs scored between the Yankees and the Rangers.
Still 2 games left in this series. When we come back, starting lineups, first pitch, Yankees, Rangers coming up. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right. Looking for some more fun this afternoon. Rangers and Yankees, third game of this 4-game series. Some cloudy skies up above and out there braving the elements for us today. We check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, Dave, you guys talked about it at the top, the way that this offense has been clicking, and it really has started at the top with Shin-Soo Choo, the way he sets the table as the leadoff hitter in this lineup, and really the trickle-down effect takes effect after that. And so when you look at the way Choo has played and the consistency that he has played with throughout the season, it really has been big, and it's been huge in Rugi's progression as well. He's talked about it at length, how hitting behind him and also relying on him and his guidance in the clubhouse has really transformed things for him this season, and really this offense just feeding off of each other. They feel like they push each other, they motivate each other, some friendly competition lying within the lineup from top to bottom, and whatever it is, all those things coming together seem to be working very well for this Texas offense right now.
Yeah, and it's funny because that story has been an ongoing one for the Rangers, and Choo, a guy who, it was talk about him during the trade deadline, but his value to this team sometimes extends beyond simply the 390 on-base percentage and the great numbers he puts up offensively. Just the approach and the tone sometimes for Choo can bring just as much value as the numbers, and he will lead things off today. There's a guy who has benefited greatly, Rougned Odor. So here we go. This is game number 119 on the season for the Rangers. 52 wins, 66 losses. 21.5 back of Houston in the American League West. While the Yankees, Lance Lynn gets us going with ball 1 outside. And the weather's been somewhat mercurial to this point. I mean, moments ago it started to rain and people were headed for cover. It stopped again. This ball hit out to center field. That'll drop in, base hit, and Chu has us started with a single today. Speaking of Chu, let's take a look at our Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Chu in right field leading it off. Odor coming to the plate now at second base. Andrews at short, bats third. Then it's Beltre the DH, Profar at third, Joey Gallo in left field, bats sixth. Chirinos, Guzman, and Carlos Tocci in center field rounded out.
You knew you'd see Ronald Guzman back in there today after the big night. Well, you get a day off regardless. We hear that a lot with the Rangers. Planned days off here and there for certain guys, but you have a night like he had, you were absolutely back in the lineup.
Yeah,
and I got to wonder too, probably happy that there's a day game. Just get me back into Yankee Stadium, into that batter's box as quickly as possible.
No doubt. Odor, meanwhile, extended his hitting streak last night. A modest 4-game streak for him, but 7 hits with a home run, a couple of doubles, a triple in there as well. It's 1-1. And while that's all fine and good, Rugi's run extends certainly a lot deeper than this series or even the last homestand. One of the hottest players in baseball in the second half. He takes in, and this goes right into what Emily was talking about with the change we have seen, the adjustments for Odor. So much more patient, so much more willing to wait, not just for a pitch in the zone, but for a pitch in the zone that he likes, that he wants.
And they continue to shift him despite the fact that he has shown that he's willing to go the other way as 3 infielders are on the right side. And you see that swing right there, a good example of what Rugi's willing to do. Now in that spot, maybe trying to foul that one off a little bit, but you're not afraid to start thinking the other way a little bit. You see Andujar now moving closer to that shortstop position. He was closer to the third base bag, but with 2 strikes, he slides over to shortstop spot a little bit more. And they do that based on what they think is going to happen with pitch selection in a 2-strike count.
Stays 2-2 on Odor. Chu had the base hit and a shorter at bat, and now Rugi up there working the count a little bit. Against Lance Lynn, 8 wins, 8 losses, a .458 earned run average for Lynn, who started the year with the Minnesota Twins. Just his second start with the Yankees.
Oh, Paul, look out.
Turned foul. Got about 25 rows up, right behind the Yankees dugout. Rangers even this series yesterday with a 12-7 win. And it was just one of those wild, fun nights where, even though it ends up a 5-run game and maybe looks a little closer than one would expect, there was a time there where the Rangers had stretched it out, and it was as close to a laugher as you're likely to get. Took the foot off the gas just a little bit toward the end, but it didn't matter. Full count. Two of the small lead he's going. The 3-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 called. A little backdoor breaking ball.
Not much of an argument from Rougned Odor, but I think he might have one here. Our pitch tracks look like, or Fox tracks had it off the plate. It's a backdoor breaking ball. It's really, really close. Rugi thought it was ball 4. Fox tracks had it off the plate, but at least right now we're learning Ben Mays thinking that corner will be called strike. Now let's take a look at the pitch arsenal, which is brought to you by Shiner Light Blonde. And for Lance Lynn, lots of fastballs for him between the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer. You were going to see 76% fastballs. He'll use that cutter once in a while. So those 3 pitches right there are all hard pitches. Cutter sits around 87. The fastball between 92 and 94.
Chu had the stolen base on that strikeout. And Andrews now fouls one back. So Elvis yesterday, I mean, you know, you go 4 for 5 with a double and you drive in 3 runs and you're thinking, yeah, I had a pretty good night. Maybe even the type of night that somebody would notice. And yet, I mean, he couldn't have faded further into the background on a night where Ronald Guzman stole the spotlight.
You think he was sitting in front of his locker, like, you know, just waiting for the reporters to come by and just getting ignored. Hey, guys.
Hello, 4 hits. 0-2.
Good movement on that 2-seam fastball. You see Elvis kind of shaking his head after the fact, picking up on the movement late, but that'll give you an idea of what kind of movement Lance Lynn can generate on that 2-seam fastball. Started out on the corner and then finishes way in off the plate, but he was able to induce that swing from Elvis.
Lynn's 0-2, and that's outside. Well, Odor did strike out, but it was an 8-pitch at bat. And so Lynn having to log some pitches in this first inning. Andrews laying off a good 0-2 pitch. Let's see what Lynn tries here. Lance Lynn has given up 12 home runs this year in his 21 starts. Whoa. And he will walk guys. Then with 63 walks in 114 innings. He's about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. But he's also over 4 walks per 9 innings.
Only 1 so far here with the Yankees through his 11 2/3 innings. 1 relief outing, 1 start. But you're right. He's a guy that has a little bit of an issue and had a little bit of an issue this year. You know, got that late start, signing with the Twins a little bit late. Spring training got cut a little bit short for him, so maybe not quite in the groove that he wanted to be in the beginning of the season, but good here so far with the Yankees.
He strikes out Andrews, 2 away. Well, our Kubota power stats on Lance Lynn, and goes right to your point. 1 walk of the 42 batters he has faced as a Yankee. You see, he walked 13% of the batters he faced while with Minnesota. So perhaps who's figured something out in pinstripes, or the sample size just really tiny.
Yeah, you know, he was so consistent throughout his career. Those years with the St. Louis Cardinals, he was always kind of in the mid to low 3s when you look at the walk rate, 3.2, 3.4, even 3.8 in 2017. And then this year, an even 5 coming into this one. But a lot of those walks came with the Twins, came early. And that's one of the things that you're seeing now, which is kind of unfortunate. But he didn't sign until March 12th with the Twins, right? Just a couple of weeks to go before the season started. And Alex Cobb went through the same thing. And you think, okay, abbreviated spring training, no problem. And guys kind of rush it a little bit. But it's difficult to do. The length of spring training, even though it feels like it can get long, it's probably the right amount of time for everyone to get ready for the season. And when you sign late and try to play catch up, you put yourself in a spot where you may struggle a little bit. Certainly Cobb has. And for Lance Lynn, not quite the year that we're used to seeing from him, an overall 4.5 ERA, and it was up over a 5 with the Twins.
There's 1-1 to Beltre. 2-1.
And
Adrian 2 for 5 yesterday with a homer.
So just to back that up, check out his first 5 starts with the Twins. 6 walks, 4 walks, 5 walks, 3 and 5. I mean, right away, just struggling. It took a while to get him going. Now, he still has had a couple. He had a 6-walk game in July and another 5-walk game in June, which is unlike him. A couple in June, actually. But the first month, ton of walks for Lance Lynn.
He evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Beltre. This will be his 20th pitch of the first inning. Chu out at second. The Yankees fans didn't have a whole lot of opportunity yesterday to get into the ball game. Trying here early to help Lynn to the finish line in the first. 2-2. A swing and a miss, strike 3. So he strikes out the side in the first inning, and the Rangers leave a man in scoring position. Nothing doing out of the gates, and the Yankees coming to bat. break through against Lance Lynn, and so now the Yankees go to work. We take a look at their starting lineup today. Brett Gardner leading it off in left field. Giancarlo Stanton, the DH, and Didi Gregorius at short. Middle of the order has Andujar, Bird, and Gleyber Torres dropping down to 6th. Neil Walker, Kyle Higashioka, the catcher today, bats 8th, and Shane Robinson in center field. All against Drew Hutchison. Hutchison making his second start with the Rangers. The first one that he wants to put behind him. And he's been pretty candid about that. It did not go well against the Baltimore Orioles. Could only go 3 innings in that game. Allowed 6 runs on 6 hits. So his first offering to Brett Gardner, and that one falls right in there for a strike.
It certainly doesn't get any easier going against the New York Yankees. This lineup in this ballpark, not quite the same with no Aaron Judge and some injuries that they're dealing with, but certainly a tough one, as we saw last night and we saw in game 1 as well.
Jumps ahead here. 0-2 on Gardner. Works with pretty good pace and runs that one inside. Yesterday, Gardner was batting 7th. He homered in the 5th inning of last night's game, but then it was one of those nights where a lot of guys were homering, or so it seemed. And he takes strike 3 call. That outside corner certainly open for business tonight or this afternoon.
A good location on that fastball from Drew Hutchison as we take a look at the pitch arsenal, which is brought to you by Shiner Light Blonde. 14 fastballs, 51% of the time. That's what you saw Brett Gardner to strike out on. The slider 36%, the changeup at 13%. The fastball will sit around 90, that changeup around 84, and the slider around 83 miles per hour. The changeup's probably been the best pitch, just a 211 batting average against.
So Hutchison goes to work against Giancarlo Stanton. Some pretty big numbers for Stanton. Not a surprise there. He's one of the premier power hitters in the game. Last 49 games for Stanton since mid-June. He's been pretty consistent, pretty locked in. A .325 average, 13 homers, 38 RBIs. Hits this ball high in the air, deep to left field. Gallo will give it a run, but no chance. That one is gone. Well, Stanton's 29th home run of the year, and the Yankees have the 1-0 lead.
For a guy like Hutchison, going against Stanton location is going to be so important, and you see they wanted that ball down and in, and instead it elevated a little bit. Now it's all the way in, had a little bit of that natural cut back over the plate, and Stanton is so strong he can get to this ball. We've seen a lot of Rangers so far in this series trying to work him up and in. That one was a little bit more middle in, and the big righty was able to get a hold of it.
So the Yankees strike first. Didi Gregorius takes low. Gregorius with 20 home runs and hits his ball on the ground down to first. Guzman will underhand it. 2 away.
Hey, let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. In the outfield this afternoon, Joey Gallo, Carlos Tocci, and Shin-Soo Choo. And in the infield, it's Jurickson Profar at third base, Elvis Andrus at short, Odor at second, Ronald Guzman at first, and Robinson Trinos is doing that catching behind the plate.
Miguel Andujar, the cleanup man this afternoon, 16 home runs this season for him, and he shanks it off to the right. Rookie having a big year for the Yankees. See those numbers at the bottom of your screen. I mean, he leads all of Major League Baseball's rookies with that .294 batting average. Also has 31 doubles. That's most. 1-1. Very good hitting third baseman. Just a little off the plate. 2-1. So Hutchison, very recently a Ranger, 27 years old. It's his 13th appearance of the year overall as a breaking ball popped up and headed our way. But only his second start. Both have come with the Rangers. Signed with the Rangers less than a week ago. It was last Sunday. I've been working out of the Phillies bullpen earlier this year. Stays 2-2.
Hutchison is a guy who's always been a really good strike thrower. Excellent walk rates over the course of his career. This year he's gotten into a little bit of trouble in that regard.
Bouncer to the left side, and that one off of Profar's glove, and Duhar will have an infield hit.
Take a look at this here. Jurickson Profar goes to his left, and see that ball kind of take a funny bounce to the right, so it had some awkward spin on it. Tough play for Profar. So it is a 2-out base hit for Duhar.
Yeah, it looks like Elvis kind of communicating with Jurickson like, hey, you know what? That might have been a play I could make. Now, I think it would have been too long a throw.
And it's tough for a third baseman to let that go, especially when you know your shortstop is going to be in the hole. Even if you think he can get to it, your instinct is to try to get that ball, because if you cut it off, you're going to have a much shorter throw. Your momentum's going to be going toward first base, or at least a little bit toward first base. Watch this here. Even though Elvis probably could have gotten to that, I think probably what he saw was Jurickson playing it on the longer hop. Had he gone after it on the shorter hop or tried to get it beforehand, definitely it's Profar's ball. But that's a really tough thing to communicate after the ball's hit.
Yeah, it looked like the positioning for Elvis was shaded way over toward the line, and you see him explaining to Profar. I think he felt like it wouldn't have been like a big running throw from his position. Like he would have been able to set and fire had it been allowed to get back to him. But still, it's just such a very long throw from over there.
Well, it also gives you an idea of all the things that go into the shifts, which you talk about, but then also for Jurickson Profar playing multiple positions. I mean, the idea of having the instincts. He'll play every single infield position, knowing where everybody is and thinking about the tendencies of his teammates. It's a really difficult thing. That's a lot of information to be able to process while the game's going on.
This ball well hit to the gap in right center. Bird will drive in Duhar. Although here comes a relay throw. It's up the line. 2-0 New York. Only 11th double of the year for Greg Bird. That one a booming double. It comes with 2 outs. That's a big run.
Take a look at the pitch here from Hutchinson, trying to go down and away with that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Came back over the middle a little bit, and Bird's able to drive it in right field. And Tochi does a nice job of getting this ball in, and even the idea of this potentially being a play at the plate as we see Duhar. Not a great runner as he goes around second. Stumbling there a little bit, takes a peek back. The throw was offline. Had it been a perfect throw, maybe there would have been a play, but I certainly expect Duhar to score on a double with 2 outs, especially with the big deep gaps they have here at Yankee Stadium.
So it gets Gleyber Torres to the plate. And Torres, a guy who has been in a pretty big scuffle lately. Last night 0 for 5. And he rolls this one third base. Profar sling it across in time, and the inning is done. But the Yankees get the first couple of runs of the ball game. We go to the second inning, 2-0.
offense, which is brought to you by Jack in the Box. And in the outfield for Aaron Boone's club is Brett Gardner, Shane Robinson, and Neil Walker. And in the infield, Andujar, Gregorius, Torres, and Greg Bird with Higashioka, Kyle Higashioka, catching for the Yankees. Not the lineup you would expect to see in August. A lot of fill-ins there right now in some different spots for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have shown somebody that lineup, let's say back in March or April, I said, huh? What happened? Well, you're only 30 games over 500. 29 is the case is today. Jurickson Profar takes a strike, 1-1. Fun to see the Guzman family again as we came back from break. They had such a big night last night. The 1-1 to Profar, off the handle, slow roller to second base. Easy play for Torres, 1 away. Well, one guy who did not get to participate in all the fun yesterday was Joey Gallo in the lineup today. Gallo get his first look at Lance Lynn.
And who was it that you were talking about last night and saying, was it Profar, and watching everybody kind of?
No, talking about Nomar.
Oh, Nomar, yeah.
It's tough when you're injured, you know, and you're making your way back and you see the guys just getting hot as a group and you're thinking, man, I'd love to just slide right in there.
Well, I think for Joey a little bit last night as well. I mean, you're certainly happy for your teammates, but oh, seems like it might be a good night to hit. How do you get in there?
Anybody need a blow? I can go in there. I'm good. This ball hit well out to right field and is down. That'll be extra bases for Gallo, and he tiptoes into second with a 1-out double. Good effort by Neil Walker. Just about a half step shy of making the play.
And of course, we know Neil Walker as a second baseman, but a little bit more of a utility guy here with the Yankees. And Joey Gallo hit this ball well, and Walker trying to make that diving catch. And with a lefty out, that ball's going to be hooking away from Walker a little bit. And that's something he's done very often in his career, where he's out there in right field, diving for balls and getting up and hitting cutoff man and everything else. New for him, that's for sure.
So another runner in scoring position, this time for Robinson Chirinos.
In fact, Neil Walker has never played the outfield until this year. And this is his first start. Am I reading that right? This is his first career start in the outfield. He's played 2 games for the Yankees, a total of 3 innings in right field. And he's been a second baseman, a little bit of first, a little bit of third over the course of his career. So I'm really feeling confident that's the first time he's ever done that.
Yeah, his first ever taste of right field was about a week ago, maybe a little more, July 28th. That was the opening game of a doubleheader. They moved him from third out to right field, and it was his first appearance in the outfield, anywhere in the outfield in his big league career. You go back to 2010 when he was AAA Indianapolis, and he played like 10 games out there. 2-2.
I'd love to. I wish we could get to the point with technology where we could hear what he's thinking while he's chasing that ball, right? Like he's like, here it is. This is it. All right, here we go. See it. All right, you're going to lay out for it, full extension, and then not get it, and everything else that goes into it, all the thoughts that are going through his head. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around. He's in his age 32 season. First opportunity to lay out for a ball in the big leagues.
Full count now on Chirinos. I'm sure there are a lot of players who would say to you, I'm really thankful that they will never have the technology to know exactly what I'm thinking in the middle of a play.
Does it surprise you though that they wouldn't put Stanton in right field and like have Neil Walker DH?
Swing and a miss. Chirino strikes out. I mean, a little bit. Hard for me to say. I don't know. They could be protecting Stanton, right? I mean, maybe he's a little banged up or something. I don't know. But
he's a pretty good outfielder.
He is. Yeah, no, he's
got a good arm for a big guy.
He plays.
Pretty agile.
So here's the guy, Ronald Guzman, and there's the family. His cute little daughter. She's like, oh yeah, all right, I'll put him down for a minute. Dad's hitting. What a night last night for Ronald Guzman as he takes ball one. 3 home runs yesterday. One of them a moonshot. And how about that note at the bottom of your screen? 6 home runs against the Yankees this season in his rookie year. To me, that's a great note. That's a lot of fun. I mean, certainly worth mentioning and whatnot. But it's so much better when you realize that he really dislikes the Yankees so much. Growing up as a kid, this is the one team he always wanted to beat. And man, has he just pounded lumps on him this year. 2-1.
Probably sitting dead red fastball and thinking, this thing is close, I'm going to take a big hack at it. And Lance Lynn goes to the breaking ball out of the zone to Guzman, taking advantage of that aggressiveness a little bit.
Became the youngest player with a 3-homer game in the Bronx since Mickey Mantle back in 1955. 2-1. And a swing and a miss. It's 2-2. So one of those crazy nights, the next number. Well, 2 gone in the inning. Gallo at second. Very high. Rangers already 0 for 4 so far today with runners in scoring position. Pardon me, 0 for 3. Guzman wants to chip in right here, get Gallo in. Answer that 2-run first by the Yankees. The payoff pitch, and they'll take ball 4.
A great take there by Ronald Guzman. He really did not see one pitch in the zone at all through that at bat. We mentioned last night, what a fun game it was for Ronald Guzman, not just for him, but for everybody else that was in attendance. They're having a great time watching their guy, his daughter, cute as could be. The third one, they couldn't. I mean, that's the best shot right there. I mean, they were super jazzed to see the first home run. The second one, they were probably just in awe of because of how far he hit it. And then the last one, and the idea of him hitting 3 home runs in one game, the first time his father has ever had an opportunity to watch him play as a professional here in the big leagues. I mean, you can't write a better script.
His reaction on that third one was one of the best. Taking off the cap, slamming it down. Just like, I can't believe this is happening. The best part too last night was when we discovered them in the stands, and then after the home run and all the fun, to see fans coming up taking pictures with him, asking for autographs. What a hoot.
Yeah, there's the good and the bad of fans realizing that that's your family, your parents in the stands. As long as things are going well, it's pretty good. Things are going bad in a bigger market, you may hear a jeer or two.
Well, Tocci now the man with the responsibility of trying to get a run home this inning for the Rangers. Gallo second, Guzman at first. And this one flared out to second base. Inning is done. The Rangers leave a pair. We played 1.5. It's 2-0 New York. Those clouds up above today, that is big part of the story this afternoon. So far, played an inning and a half unmolested, but that rain is coming and there is some concern. Earlier this morning, it really came down as Neil Walker stands in here in the bottom of the second.
It was pretty dark around the hotel at 8 a.m. It was a lot earlier. I woke up and I saw how dark it was. Thinking, oh, maybe it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It was 8 o'clock. Dark outside, lots of rain. We'll see.
Yeah, I was hoping, well, okay, it's gone. It's done its little trick. Let's move on with the day. But apparently, it just cycles back. So, we'll see. So far, 2-0 New York. Walker, the switch hitter, in at the left side, and Hutchison deals very high. Walker did not play yesterday. Rangers won the ball game yesterday. Walker played here in Thursday night's game. Hit solo home runs in the 4th and 6th inning. And it turns that one foul. Not sure exactly the reason why, but he has had particular success against the Rangers this year. I'm not the only one wondering. This one fouled back, 1-2. Jeff Bannister was talking about him yesterday. He said, you know, I know Neil, former Pirate. They spent a lot of time together. And he said, you know, look, he's a good hitter. Come on.
It was interesting. Banny was actually down the third base line of the dugout, third base side. Was he talking to Kerwin Danley? I think he was. Or maybe Phil Nevin, the third base coach. Yeah, they were goofing around over there a little bit.
This ball belted out to center, not belted at all, off the end of the bat. And that's a weak fly ball. Walker retired, one away. MLB.TV, now available at a lower price for $49.99. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get a free subscription at MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Just go to MLB.TV to take advantage of this special offer. Walker, by the way, had 6 hits and 4 of them had been home runs against the Rangers. 4 of his 6 homers this year have been against the Rangers. So nice to see him retired. And now Kyle Higashioka, the catcher this afternoon for the Yankees. That looked good, but that one missed. 2-0. Higashioka had not played in the last 3 Yankees games. He'll take a ball.
No Gary Sanchez right now on the DL for the New York Yankees. That's a big loss for them. The bat, the job he does behind the plate. He's had his issues, but he throws the ball pretty well. He's got a good arm. He had that issue where he didn't hustle ball out. Took a lot of heat for it, but then ended up going on the DL. Not too much later after that. You see Aaron Boone, that's a big part of why he is here. The relationships with the younger players is something they believe he can improve on from a year ago.
Well, a walk to Higashioka, who is not much of an offensive threat, never really has been in his career, but given the free base.
Well, thanks to T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on Fridays for the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch. Get your tickets and the all-you-can-eat seats for Friday, August 17th. When the Angels take on your Rangers, use the coupon code T-Mobile at TexasRangers.com/specials.
All right, a runner aboard now, and Shane Robinson takes a strike. Robinson, another guy whose numbers have not been very good this year. It's the 148 average. Originally drafted by the Cardinals, a 5th-round pick. And he takes low. Robinson had played parts of 5 or 6 years with St. Louis. Came up in 2009, but also played 2011 through 14 with St. Louis. Then with the Twins the next year. Angels for a couple of seasons, and now a Yankee. Check in on Higashioka.
He's getting an opportunity here, one he probably was not expecting with the Yankees. We talked about that over these first couple of games. The depth really getting tested here with Ellsbury out for the year. Judge on the DL right now. No Hicks in the lineup.
Hutchison with that long set, and that one's upstairs. Well, Hutchinson, we mentioned earlier this year with the Phillies in their bullpen, been starter with the Dodgers when he joined them in mid-June. Went 4-1 with a 2.14 ERA with their AAA club. This one flared out to right field. Chu charges in, and he'll make the play. There are 2 gone. And now to the top of the order. Hutchinson asked for his release from the Dodgers, and was granted that release at the end of July. Rangers picked him up and immediately thrust into the rotation. The Rangers going with a 6-man rotation at the moment.
And that's one of those things for a veteran player when you're in that kind of situation and you sign with a club and you agree to go to the minor leagues if you've had that kind of career as a big leaguer. Did you get that kind of built into your contract? Those out dates that you put in there, a lot of times teams will be more than willing to give you those. June 1st, July 1st, August 1st. It gives you some flexibility, and then for that team, it's okay. Well, we'll get this guy to come here, but we'll offer him something that makes it worth it. So if you're pitching well in the minor leagues or playing well in the minor leagues, and there's not an opportunity, well, then you can go ahead and exercise that out clause. It'll always look like a release. It'll say the player was released. A lot of times the player has asked for his release, or it's a contractual release. The way that it's built in, you go pursue an opportunity somewhere else. It's a weird spot to be in for a veteran. Technically, you're not supposed to talk to other teams while you're in the minor leagues under contract with someone else, but you find ways to put some feelers out here and there, get an idea maybe who might be interested. Not a lot of freedom for minor leaguers generally, but in a situation when you become a guy who's been around and done a couple things in the big leagues, teams are willing to give you some of that flexibility. And what you can do too is it puts pressure on the team. Right, you're sitting there in the minor leagues with the Dodgers, you have an out, and maybe they have a need. They're kind of borderline on you, whatever it may be, whatever team you're with. And you say, well, I'm going to exercise my out coming up here on August 1st or whatever it is, and they got to make a decision because they can call you up before that, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Fly ball out to short left field. Coming in for Gallo. Boy, he just does get to it, and the inning has done a lot of soft contact in the inning.
Oh, great job by Joey. We've seen him in right, we've seen him in left. Big smile after he makes this play. This ball just died on him, but good reaction to make the catch.
what's going on behind the scenes. And now next up, our Outside the Box focused on the Fox Sports Southwest broadcast and production crew and their experience during a Rangers game. Go behind the lens with us on a special broadcast this Tuesday. It's going to be fun. Final game of that series with the Diamondbacks. Promise it will be a very different viewing experience for you as Chu will lead things off here in the third. It'll be Chu, Odor, and Elvis Andrus. Lynn's 1-0.
Now Lynn is not a guy, and you can pick up on that pretty quickly, who works fast in between pitches. The pace 25.0 for him. That's a couple of ticks above league average. Nobody in any kind of rush to try to make this thing go along a little bit quicker. There's threatening rain in the area. Now sometimes you'll play that game a little bit, or you slow play it if you get down too. That's certainly something that has happened. But the Yankees are up. I'm Lance Lanham, trying to pick up the pace a little bit and see if I can get myself through 5 innings before that rain potentially gets here.
Chu lashes this one out to left field. That's a base hit. And he's going for 2. Here comes a throw. Not in time, and Chu just does lay out the leadoff double. Wow, that was a gutsy move.
It's aggressive, it's reading the ball, it's doing your homework, understanding the outfielders. And first of all, watch the pitch here. Not a bad one, middle away and down, but Chu is so good at hitting the ball the other way. And I think what he saw from Shane Robinson was some body language that told you that maybe he was making the assumption that Chu was only going to go for the base hit. Instead, he extends it to 2 with the double. Watch the turn here. Good slide, throws a little bit offline. That allowed Chu to get there in time. Great job. No replay challenge from the Yankees. That's tremendous base running. And Chu continues to set that really good example. We talked a lot about what he has done this year and the mentorship with younger players, and especially Rougned Odor and the approach that he takes at the plate. Well, the way he just ran the bases right there, a great example for every player on this Rangers club.
25th double of the year for Chu. For the 3rd inning in a row, the Rangers have a man in scoring position. Odor fouls off strike 1. Time now for our WinStar World Casino and Resort leaderboard. How about the hits leaders since the All-Star break? Next 2 batters, Odor and waiting on deck Elvis Andrus, tied for the American League lead with 31 hits. Miguel Andujar of the Yankees right behind them. One and one. Odor struck out looking at the first inning on a really close pitch. It was an 8-pitch at bat. And he watched a backdoor breaking ball that Fox Track said was just a little bit off the plate.
Yeah, that one was definitely away. And what you worry about, obviously, you don't want to strike out there, but then also, does it cause the hitter to extend the strike zone a little bit more and open it up and start chasing some pitches? That's always a conversation we have when we see some calls that are outside the zone that get called strikes. And that's why hitters put up such a fight. It's not just one at bat, it's not just one pitch, but it's what it's telling your hitter and that hitter for the rest of the game. And he's kind of caught in between. So, okay, well, did he miss that one? He doesn't realize he missed it, or is he going to keep calling that the entire game? Do I have to cover that part of the plate? It's certainly not a strike. Do I have to be aware of 3-4 inches off the plate now?
He reaches out for that one, hooks it to the right side, and a shot put over to first from Gregorius in time. One away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan. That is pretty cool, and obviously a great accomplishment by a great hitter. So a man at third now as Chu advanced on the ground out, and Andrus takes down the dirt. Elvis also with a strikeout in the first inning. Mentioned last night, 4 for 5, a season best 4 hits for Elvis. Andrews hitting .355 since the All-Star break. Lost 21 games.
You kind of knew it was coming with Elvis. He had some bad luck, I thought. Batting average was down a little bit after he got back off the DL. Swing looked pretty good. Just seemed like hits were not falling in for him. Some hard contact balls that were going right at defenders. It was just a matter of time before this started happening.
Head here now 2-1 against Lance Lynn. And Lynn, though he's done a nice job working around some base runners, he is not throwing a real high percentage of strikes. It's already over 50 pitches for the day, but only 6 more strikes than balls to this point. 2-2.
Both of these guys, Lynn right now at 56% strikes, Hutchison at 58% strikes, and look at the guy like Lance Lynn. I've talked about what he's done over the course of his career. This year he's been right at 60% strikes, or just below, which is not necessarily a great number either. You want to be around 63, 64 will put you at league average. Really good guys are usually 67, 68%.
Stays 2-2. In fact, he's the 5th lowest in terms of strike rate among all major league starters. That number you mentioned there, 59.5%. But he's managed to get away with it. Mentioned earlier how the walks have been high at times this year for him. Today he's only walked 1 Rangers hitter, but he's allowed a couple of doubles and a single as well. We're only in the 3rd. And this one flared out over first. That'll drop in. Base hit. So Chu scores. Andrews drives in the first Rangers run of the afternoon. It's 2-1.
Remember the couple of hits that Elvis Andrus had last night on pitches that were down and away balls he was able to slice to right field, and he does it here again. This pitch is down and in, but even below the zone a little bit. But you see that kind of shortened swing, and he gets enough backspin on this thing just to kind of lift it and loft it out to right field for a soft base hit. He's done a really nice job protecting against some pretty tough pitches and turning those tough pitches into base hits.
So a 2-1 ball game. Beltre 0 for 1 stands in, and he takes low and outside. Andrews taking off, but throw down to second, and they got him.
Take a look here. Elvis Andrus, this is a little bit of a delayed. So actually saw the ball in the dirt, so not a delayed steal, but I think he thought that ball was going to bounce away. You see the frustration there and the read, not what he thought it was. It was a good secondary lead, but I think he expected that ball to maybe not be picked as cleanly as it was.
So now the base is empty. Beltre takes a strike, 1-1. Adrian struck out in the first inning. Well, Lance Lynn had never pitched against the Rangers in the regular season. This is the first ever regular season appearance against Texas. Lynn made 5 relief appearances for St. Louis in that 2011 World Series. Beltre sends this one right up the middle for a base hit. Beltre, in fact, had homered off Lynn in a critical moment in Game 6 of that World Series. He and Nelly Cruz went back to back. Anyway, that base hit extends the inning. Well, a little more on Adrian Beltre. Let's check in again with Emily.
Well, we all know that Adrian Beltre has a great time playing the game of baseball, but he was a little bit tense those few weeks leading up to the trade line with his future being uncertain. Obviously, he had the ultimate say in where he would end up, but they were a little, tenuous those few weeks. He says since that trade deadline has passed, there's kind of a calm that's come over him. The sense of contentment that he has playing this game is evident, and it's something that he's very open about talking about now, that he's feels like he's accomplished what he wants to accomplish. Of course, he would like to win a championship, but he just feels like he's gotten such fulfillment out of this game that if it were to end at this point in time, that he would be okay with it. And there's a sense of, I guess, kind of freedom when you're able to take the field every day knowing that.
That was big for him, right? Even though he was in full control, doesn't mean that he is not affected by all the rumors, the conversations, potential decisions that he and his family may have to make. So you get it. I mean, I think for a lot of guys, in both ways too, not just here with the Rangers, but other clubs, there are players leading up to the deadline that wouldn't mind maybe getting traded and that don't have control over it, but kind of watch it doesn't happen. So that's an anxiety that starts to go away. But for Adrian Beltre, he was in full control, but that doesn't mean there's not anxiety that comes along with the trading deadline. So very interesting kind of angle. I don't think people put much thought into that. They just say, oh, whatever, you're in control, who cares? No, they're still affected by those rumors and all those conversations.
A swing and a miss by Profar, and that strikeout ends the inning. Rangers get a run back, though the rain's starting to fall a little heavy here as we head to the bottom of the third. Remind you to drink responsibly. So bottom of the third inning. Yeah, you see some of the rain today. It's not that bad. We can make it look worse sometimes on TV. And I say that sitting up here in a protected booth.
It's really dry where we are right now.
No
It's
issues
not bad
at all.
I think it's raining.
Hutchinson might argue that. Called a little slippery. Went right over the head of Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah, see? I mean, you can see it's coming down, but not enough to really bother me.
Yeah, and really great of Anthony to coordinate with us today as far as the colors we were wearing. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Doing a nice job on stats, but not just about stats. We got to look good up here.
Well, it's a one-run game for Hutchinson. He's a little bit off the plate there, 2-1. I was just looking at the radar, CJ, and I'm no meteorologist.
Dallas rains.
It's it looks like we're all right. High fly ball out to right field. Chu is there. One away. Anyway, it looks like the heavy stuff. Little south, little east. We're just catching some of the edge of the storm.
All right.
At least at the moment.
Southeast and moving in that direction.
Moving in that direction. Most of the fans pretty cool with it. Last inning, right as that half inning was ending, a lot of folks, especially on the third base side, were starting to head for cover. And we see the grounds crew every half inning check in with Kerwin Danley over at third base. Yeah, those folks are all looking for some dry seats. No big deal. Gregorius rolled out to first base back in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. And he takes a low strike. It does seem like at times the strike zone has just a little extra to it today. I don't know if that's intentional by Ben May. He seems to have been pretty consistent so far with that as well. 2-1.
Yeah, I think we saw that last night. We talked about Odor's strikeout, but then also some other strikes that we saw in last night's strike zone. Kerwin Danley behind the plate. Thought he got a little bit wide at times. Then again, it's hard to argue with a 12-7 game. Offense, not an issue.
3 balls and a strike now on Gregorius.
You like the poncho? You can see some ponchos there behind Gregorius.
I mean, whatever works, right?
Yeah, it's a big Yankee ponchos back there behind home plate. I was never a fan.
There's ball 4. Gregorius takes his base. I mean, what could you possibly have against the poncho?
Just kind of feel like it gets a little messy and uncomfortable. They're very thin, not very durable. They look great.
Yeah, they're very flattering.
Yeah. Show off the curves.
So what about like the garbage bag? What about just the?
No, I
No?
think I'd rather
The
just get
hefty
wet.
bag?
I'd rather, yeah. Yeah, the hand situation's the problem. It's pretty tough to eat a hot dog with a poncho, although it's helpful as far as getting it on your clothes. You can really get after it.
It's a little like that cone they put around dogs' heads when they're trying to get healthy. It's sort of the human equivalent is the poncho.
Makes it tough to do what you want to do.
Can't scratch my ear.
You can still post to Instagram, though, apparently. It's good hair right there. I mean, that's where you take the top of the poncho off. That's the issue, too, is when you're sporting that kind of dew. Put some time in this morning, and he crushed it. I'm not going to have the poncho. I don't think so. Not today, Dad.
My experience is it gets a little warm under the poncho.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the part I'm less in favor of. Well, and Duhar an infield hit back in the first inning. 1 for 1 today. And they were playing him a little differently on the left side of the infield when he came up with that hit. Andrus was shaded well more toward third base than he is right now. Very conventional alignment right here. And the bases were empty in the first inning when he was up. And right now with a runner at first, they might be thinking more about the potential double play. Outside, throw down to first. Whoa. Gregorius just got back in there.
A nice job by Chirinos. That's a good throw. He got it down there pretty quickly. Almost had a play on Gregorius. Take a look at it here. Pitch was away, so it was a good one to handle, and he kind of sees a little bit of that lean from the Yankees shortstop. You see that right hand get in there in plenty of time. It's 2-0, but you've seen them go away. Hutchinson trying to get Andujar maybe to chase, and that's something he has done. That swing percentage, which measures how often a hitter swings and pitches outside of the strike zone, and Duhar's got the highest rate of any active Yankee right now at 38%. League average is 31, so he certainly is a guy that's not afraid to get aggressive on some pitches outside of the strike zone.
Lifts this one into short right field, and Odor gets out there to make the play. So, Christian music group Mercy Me will perform a post-game concert Sunday, August 19th, presented by Buckner International. You can see the Angels and Rangers at 2:05 game, and then enjoy the concert afterward. Go to TexasRangers.com/concerts for game tickets and information on how you can see Mercy Me from the field. Two gone. And Greg Bird, the hitter, and he swings at the first pitch. Right out to Joey Gallo. And that makes for a tidy third inning. So we head to the fourth. It's a one-run game. in this series. We take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. After tomorrow afternoon's game, it's home for the Diamondbacks and the Angels. Then a road trip that has the Rangers in San Francisco for an entire week. Oakland and the Giants before returning home once again.
Well, how about this? A little sunshine here in the Bronx. And it appears that you got it right. Meteorologist Dave Raymond.
You can trust me. High pop up, third base side. And Duhar looking near the sun anyway. Makes the catch. Gallo pops out to start the fourth inning. There it is. Can't escape it. There's the sunny. There's the gray.
Oh.
He's not starting today.
Wow.
Here's Robinson Chirinos.
Should have quit when you were ahead. You should have just given the forecast and walked it off. You nailed it. And it was the dad joke.
That's what I do. A little bit in to Chirinos, who struck out of the first, 0 for 1. Well, Rangers have had some traffic out there today against Lance Lynn. They've cashed in 1 run so far. And Lynn has had to work around some base runners, a number of which have been left in scoring position. It's not exactly a thing of beauty, but so far it's working well for him. 2-1. Then again, these two teams, they really haven't played in a game like this in the season series. A 2-1 game. We've had nothing but offensive fireworks between these two clubs this year. Rangers took the series 2 out of 3 back home in Arlington earlier this year. They've split the first 2 here. That guy responsible for a lot of the loud noises. 6 home runs in the season series.
It's been a good fastball. We've seen a good fastball this afternoon from Lance Lynn. You see that one at 93 miles an hour, able to get it past Robinson Chirinos, who's been pretty good against the heater this year. He's one of those kind of spin rate kind of guys. I mentioned how often he throws that fastball. Not afraid to do it. About 3 out of every 4 pitches are usually a fastball.
Now Chirinos hits his ball out to left field, and it hangs up for Gardner, 2 away. All right, here comes Ronald Guzman, the star of the show yesterday. For more on him, we check in again with Emily.
Yeah, everyone wanted to know what Guzzi and his family did after the game to celebrate. Well, he had rented a house for his family in New Jersey. So his mom had gone to the store. She cooked a big meal for all the family when they got home. And he said, honestly, I just stayed up. We stayed up watching videos, looking at the post-game interview that he did, all the videos of his family, answered some phone calls and text messages. He said he still wasn't through them, but stayed up till about 2 o'clock in the morning, just kind of reminiscing and savoring the night that was, one that he definitely will never forget, and neither will his family.
Good. I mean, you gotta enjoy that one. 3 homers yesterday for Guzman, and he's ahead here, 2-0.
It's not something you get the opportunity to do too often either, is have your entire family with you. You have that big moment and to enjoy a home cooked meal and just hang out with your family and really kind of absorb everything afterwards. I mean, that's fantastic. That's not something that comes along very often for a big leaguer, especially for a road game.
It was a raucous night for those guys last night in the seats. Well, we'll see what happens here. 3-0. Guzman walked the first time, and he walks again here. So this was last night. Sit back and enjoy.
That was a lot of fun for Ronald Guzman as he gets to Masahiro Tanaka for the first one. There in the first row in right field. Then he got to Masahiro Tanaka again, and the same exact reaction. Kind of funny, but this one was a big one to right center field, pointing up to his family, and then this opposite field shot that just squeaked out for Ronald Guzman. And that reaction, watch the hat. Oh, there goes Dad. Big smiles pointing up, but his teammates just as excited for him as well. Such a good guy. He's been good energy in the clubhouse. Gotten comfortable at the big league level, obviously from a performance standpoint. And they're all like, well, wait a minute, what's all this walk nonsense? I thought we were here to watch our guy hit homers.
Tocci takes a little in, 1-1.
But that's good to see too from Ronald Guzman, to be able to come out, not be over anxious the next day, right? You hit 3, like, oh yeah, this is it. I'm just going to rake throughout this entire series, and you start to maybe expand the zone a little bit. Confidence, which is always a good thing to have, but maybe you start going after some pitches that you usually would not. So he's actually done a really nice job of keeping those emotions in check and drawing a couple of walks in his first 2 plate appearances.
One-two. Tocci stays alive. Tocci lined out in the second inning. I think 255. His last 19 games, 13 of which have been starts. In fact, he's appeared in all but 2 games since the All-Star break, so the Rangers giving Tocci a lot more exposure and playing time here in the second half. Guzman running, and there's a swing and a miss. Tocci goes down on strikes. The inning is done. Rangers leave another man. We go to the bottom of the 4th today in the Bronx. 2-1 New York.
When you're America's Best Value, they don't need fancy uniforms. How do you know it's clip-on?
Gleyber Torres, Neil Walker, and Kyle Higashioka in this 4th inning for New York. They've scored 2 runs on 3 hits. Rangers 1 run on 5 hits. That's ended up a pretty pleasant day today here in the Bronx, and the pitch to Torres right in there for a strike. Torres grounded out in the 1st inning. 0 for 1. 0 for 6 in the series. And this one, a soft liner right out there to center field. So Torres aboard to start the 4th inning. Well, join Fox Sports Southwest for a gridiron celebration with the Texas Football Days, presented by Jack in the Box. Beginning August 26th, watch classic high school football games daily, leading up to a live doubleheader of high school football to kick off the season. That's followed by college football across the Fox family of networks. Go to foxsportssouthwest.com for details. That's a Torres aboard. Here is Neil Walker, who flied out in the 2nd inning. takes a strike. I mentioned when Walker was up earlier, he has 6 home runs this season. 4 of them have been against the Rangers. I mean, obviously, when you play New York, you concern yourself with the presence of Giancarlo Stanton, maybe Didi Gregorius and Miguel Andujar. But when you're the Rangers, you got to circle Walker's name on the lineup card too. Bouncer right side. Odor goes to second one. He had a little trouble getting it out of the glove, so no turn offered by Andrews. 1 away.
That's a good job by Rugi to not try to rush that play. Like maybe there'd been a little bit of an issue. He kind of slid as he caught it, wanted to make sure that he had his feet underneath him. We'll take a look at it here. You get the ground ball. Now he had to go a little bit to his left. Watch that back foot. Just waited a half a second, and you'd much rather him do that than rush it and turn it into something else. See how the feet are sliding just there a little bit, and so he wanted to make sure he had good solid ground underneath him before he threw that ball. Make sure you get 1 out, not try to rush it, throw that ball in the outfield. Then you got second and third at least.
Now a Walker on via the fielder's choice, and now Higashioka, who walked. And he hits this one high in the air, center field. Tochi, though, gets underneath it. 2 away. That's just it, though, Emily. I mean, we talk so much about the offense. It's the defense, too, for Rugi.
Yeah, and you talked about the footwork a little bit earlier, and we've talked at length about the work that he's done with Tony Beasley, and he says that's where it all starts with the footwork. It starts low, and then it helps him to make those better decisions, to think properly, to keep that focus. But everything starts with the footwork, because with the footwork then comes the angles, and then comes the better decision making. And so it's all a process that really does start down low.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think a lot of times we look at infielders, we talk about their hands, right, and how good they are at fielding a ball and reacting to bad hops or whatever it may be, or just really tough plays. But it's all about positioning and getting your body in the right position to start with. And certainly Tony Beasley is well aware of that, and preaching that sometimes to players to think about their feet. I mean, the same conversation even happens with pitchers. Everything starts with your feet. That's the first movement. And the focus sometimes has to be there for guys that have bad footwork or are slow-footed. There's a lot of room for improvement. We've seen what Rugi has done has been pretty unbelievable. The adjustments and the changes, the improvements he's made defensively.
Now Shane Robinson, the batter here, 2-0 the count. He's flying out to right field, 0 for 1.
Wait a minute.
Hey, you remember we were in the Bronx earlier today?
That really is amazing. There was a lot of concern about what might happen here this afternoon, but we'll take that partly cloudy sky right now. How long do you see a couple of ponchos still on? You mentioned how they can be a little bit
warm,
uncomfortable, warm. They kind of keep that moisture trapped in there. You got to take it off at this point.
Absolutely. No. That's. You wad it up.
Just throw it out.
Yep.
The problem is they're cumbersome. To take your poncho off while you're sitting in a seat at a stadium can be a little bit of a challenge without elbowing somebody else.
Three and 1 to Robinson. Robinson, a 148 hitter. A home run and 2 RBIs so far this year in his relatively limited opportunity. But not a guy you want to let off the hook here. There's ball 4. So Robinson draws the walk. What that means, now you have to deal with Brett Gardner, and though he is the leadoff man, we all know it's a much different era of baseball where a lot of leadoff hitters have great power. Chu, 20 home runs this year. You think of guys like George Springer in Houston, and Brett Gardner, he can knock it out of the yard as well. So you hate to face him with runners on, as the case here.
Yeah, he was one of many guys last year that set a career high in home runs. He had 21 of them in 2017 as a 33-year-old. He's got 10 so far this year. But you're right, he's got some pop. You got to be careful. A guy that's always done a good job of getting on base, good defender. The home runs have come late for him in his career. Kind of look at his career track, and he did not get into double digits in home runs until he was 30 years old. Guy who broke in at 24 with the Yankees back in 2008. Started seeing some full seasons in 2010, 2011. Kind of like that. We talk about that a lot. He's always been a pretty good hitter, a guy early in his career. You could count on him in the 270s, even a little bit higher than that at times. And then the power came as he got a little bit older.
Yeah, averaged down a little bit this year to 248. But a guy who has had at least 16 home runs in 3 of the last 4 years. A mainstay in this Yankees lineup and in their outfield for the better part of a decade. So, Doug Brocail, pitching coach, went out there for a quick visit.
He's got an option next year too. That's kind of interesting. I think at one point a lot of fans and people around here thought that that is an option that wouldn't be exercised for Brett Gardner, but now with Ellsbury and the injuries and what they have seen, I think it's a no-brainer and a pretty affordable option as well.
First pitch swinging, and he pops it up near third base. Profar wants it, and that will end the inning. So for all of our consternation and worry, no big deal. Hutchinson, I got it, man. We go to the 5th. Coming up for the Rangers, top of the order, Chu, Odor, and Elvis Andrus. Yeah, that's it.
It's like a Snuggie. Just flip it backwards.
Yeah.
There's 3 people there that are really wanting to see the Rangers win. A couple of Jew fans, and then the Met fan at the end. No doubt came to watch the Yankees lose. You don't wear a Met jersey or Met jersey T-shirt to a Yankee game unless you were just like, yeah, that's right. I hope you guys lose. Keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't clap if anything good happens for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean that could end up being trouble. Chu takes low, 1-1. Aren't you asking for an argument? Aren't you, in a little confrontation when you're doing that?
Without a doubt.
I get it. Why are you doing that?
Especially this year, been a rough one for the Mets. Lots going on. Not meeting expectations.
Chu hits his ball well out to right field. Walker started in, angles back, and he makes the play. Uh-oh. Sorry, boys. He'll be back up. Don't worry about it. Taking a hit every time. He was 2 for 2. As much as we'd love to see it. All right, so now Rougned Odor. And quite the opposite. You can't stop Odor every single at bat. He's 0 for 2 so far. Had a really good at bat in the first. Ended up striking out looking on a pitch that was borderline at best, an 8-pitch at bat, and then grounded out in the third. He was 3 for 9 in the first 2 games of this series with a double, an RBI, a walk. Lynn gets him to chase. Now Lynn up in the nearly mid-80s now in pitch count. Starting to offer more strikes as this game has moved on. He was really fighting himself a little bit earlier, even though the Rangers were offering it some pitches. 1-2.
That's a good fastball there. 94 miles an hour up and in. That's a tough one for Rugi and most left-handers to get to. Wanted it middle in and got it there, even slightly elevated. Yeah, that's a good pitch. Oh,
wow. Well, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, this ball rifled foul. Set up and do it again.
Now Rugi hasn't. I mentioned he's been hitting the ball the way, excuse me, the other way a little bit more. We're seeing that. You see that swing right there with 2 strikes and a little bit of a defensive swing, but not enough where you're going to get the shift yet, where you're going to get the shift change in the other direction. I talked about how Andujar slid over to that shortstop position essentially with 2 strikes. He's done it again. And even though at times Rugi has gone the other way, I think opposing teams are going to want to see a lot more frequency before they start making any major adjustments the way that they shift. And we saw it earlier with Nomar. The trend started happening and teams started backing off a little bit. But it hasn't affected Rugi. We know how well he has been hitting. The numbers overall this season, the fact that he's been able to get up to 275 coming into this one, pretty impressive.
Lynn's full count offering, and it's another long at bat for Odor. Fights off another close pitch. Look at Lynn closing in on 90 pitches, and this will be the 8th pitch of this at bat.
He looks like a totally different guy without the beard, right? A lot of players that come over here, no facial hair, still the Yankee policy. It has been for years.
Oh, there's ball 4. So Odor has worked him well this afternoon, and that's a big walk. And it gives us a moment to hear from our friends at Southwest Kia.
Purchase a brand new Kia Sorento for less than $20,000. Monthly payments $250 a month. Find your Kia Sorento at Southwest Kia.
So 1-run game, and Odor in another lengthy at bat works a walk against Lance Lynn and sets up Elvis Andrus. Elvis 1 for 2 with an RBI single in the 3rd inning. Andrus now has that average at 290. Well, Sun's really come out now. And they're worried that Rugi might try and take a base, obviously, or take too large a lead.
He's been aggressive, right? 9 stolen bases this year. He has been caught, though, 8 times.
Decent lead, not going, and there's strike 1 on Andrus. All right, a Southwest Airlines bullpen live look. David Robertson warming up out there. We saw him Thursday night. would appear that we're going to see him again here this afternoon.
That's that pitch usage, as you mentioned. 90 now for Lance Lynn.
Odor is running. The hit and run was on, and the throw goes into center field. And Odor with his 10th stolen base. Whoop.
Yeah, that one was a little bit high on that throw, and this was absolutely a hit and run. Elvis goes after this pitch, even though it's out of the strike zone. You have to swing, but man, Gleyber Torres with the fake tag, trying to convince Rugi that that throw was on line.
Get the launch angle on that throw.
It's pretty high. But I was going to say, so you see it now, 91 pitches. 4 Ranger hitters have seen better than 10 pitches in their at bats, and this is 3rd time through the order. Not a single Yankee, even though they have gone through the order 3 times, has seen more than 9 pitches so far in the afternoon. Give you an idea how good Rugi's been. 20 overall that Odor has seen in his 3 plate appearances, and that's, listen, you love seeing it. Obviously you want to see some more runs across the board, but the idea of getting to that starter, making him work, I mentioned it throughout this series, as good as that bullpen is. Of course, the idea is to be able to cash in when you can get those runners on base, and maybe then you don't get the best end of the Yankees bullpen as you start to get into it.
Oh, strike 3 call. And Andrews the 2nd out of the inning.
Elvis didn't seem to really like that call. We'll take a look here at the pitch. It was a fastball, was away, and it was probably right on the corner. A little bit borderline, but at 95 miles an hour, Lance Lynn gets the call.
So 2 away. It's going to be up to Adrian Beltre. 1 for 2 and a single up the middle is last time up. You mentioned that Lance Lynn's experience against the Rangers was confined exclusively to the 2011 World Series. 5 relief appearances, had a 6.35 ERA. Ended up getting the win in Game 3 of that World Series. And it was Beltre and Cruz with the back-to-back home runs in Game 6 that had him on the hook momentarily for the loss in that one. He was bailed out later in that game, as fans no doubt remember. But the guy the Rangers saw pretty well, competed well against in that 2011 World Series. Beltre would love to get him one more time here, maybe tie this game, or even better, put the Rangers in front. He's ahead 2-0.
The velocity is still there for Lance Lynn, but you see that last pitch away, it kind of died on him a little bit, fell below the zone. That's showing some fatigue. It's not always about the velocity when you watch pitchers, but as they get deeper into the game, the pitch counts go up. You watch location, you watch movement to see if balls kind of tail off a little bit more than expected. That means that pitcher's not getting all the way through those pitches. That's a good one there at 94. You have to battle yourself, because it's your body that gets tired as well. Your legs get tired. It's very easy sometimes to maybe lose a little bit of that focus. Your mechanics get off just for a second. That's why we see those visits from pitching coaches and catchers, just to kind of remind a pitcher to maybe get through a pitch a little bit more. A 2-0 pitch was a good example of some of the fatigue we're probably seeing here from Lance Lynn.
Full count on Adrian. Beltre had a season high 4 RBIs in yesterday's game. Higashioka will walk the baseball out there to Lance Lynn.
Yeah, it's a good time right there. Talk strategy a little bit, and if he sees anything mechanically, just to kind of remind his right-hander of that, what they want to do location-wise, as he gets ready to throw pitch number 99. Lance Lynn has gone up over 100 pitches 10 times this season.
Odor with the tying run in his back pocket out there at second base. 3-2. A swing and a miss. And once again, Lynn gets a strikeout when he needs it. Inning is done. We're halfway to the house this afternoon. Yankees lead 2-1. to watch. Giancarlo Stanton. 23 home runs in the month of August since the start of last year. Most in Major League Baseball. He has dominated this month. Homered back in the first inning, 1 for 2. So Hutchison, pitch count much more in check than that of Lance Lynn. This could be a big inning for him. Get through this 2, 3, and 4 spot in the order of the Yankees here in the 5th inning and do it quietly, maybe quickly. Might start to sense or feel a little bit of a momentum shift toward the Rangers. They've had opportunity after opportunity on the offensive side against Lance Lynn, and Lynn may be done after his 5 innings. Stanton fouls it off. It's 1-2.
No, you're right, and it's been a pretty good outing here so far. 4+ innings for Hutchison, and we had that strikeout against Brett Gardner to kick the game off. It's been his only strikeout so far this game, but he's done a good job of keeping these Yankee hitters off balance after we saw Stanton hit the home run. He left those 2 runs in the first inning, and Duhar with the base hit and Bird with the double, but he hasn't allowed a hit since then. No, I take that back. He's allowed 1. Torres had the base hit last inning.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Stanton.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, StatCast AI, powered by AWS, is going to show us that Stanton home run, and Hutchinson knew it right away, 104 miles an hour. But this one actually got a little bit closer than maybe we thought. Just about a row or 2 deep. Drew Hutchinson has to be a little frustrated. The previous pitch that he threw, and that was a strike. And anytime you're facing a guy like Stanton, listen, it's any big leaguer, but the idea of what looked like it should have been called strike 3 doesn't get called. There's not too many of those that you're going to get past Stanton.
High in the air, right field, and into that corner. Foul.
It's amazing that that was even potentially a home run. That's how strong this guy is. I mean, he didn't look a little bit, I don't say off balance, but it looked like he kind of popped that up a little bit. Watch Chu here chasing this and realizing, yeah, this ball's not as deep as everybody thinks. And a couple errors there by some Yankee fans. Hot potato. Who's got it? They don't even know where the ball is right there.
Another big 3-2 pitch. And it is high. So Stanton is on. That's also, I mean, the corners are a little tight here. I mean, it's 314 down the line to right, 316 into the left field corner, 318. 408 to center field. You do get the deep alleys. Exact same dimensions as the old Yankee Stadium. It was open in 1923. This one opened in 2009. It's also pointed, or its orientation the exact same as the old Yankee Stadium. Which was just across the street. So Stanton is on, and now Didi Gregorius. Walk's not a big deal when Gregorius grounds into a double play. All will be forgiven. Bouncer back to the mound. Second base for 1. On to first. There's that double play. 1-6-3.
I mean, weather, nailed it. Double play predictions, nailed it. What else you got?
I got a Chevy game break. How about John Radigan? All right, thanks, John. Here is Miguel Andujar. I'm just an outside the box thinker.
Yeah.
CJ, that's all. Andujar with a pop up his last time to the plate, and he takes one down the middle. That's a strike. So Hutchison, a pitch count now mid 70s, 76 for the afternoon. What a great conversation with himself out there, pitching well. And just misses 2-1. Now Jeffrey Springs getting ready out in the Rangers bullpen. Ground ball, shortstop, and Andrews will set up, and that will complete the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left, and we go to the 6th in the Bronx. Rangers down by a run.
Did a very nice job today. Saw him striking out 9 Rangers when it was all said and done, and just allowed 1 run. Excuse me, 8 Rangers, 8 strikeouts. But good use of the fastball, breaking pitches out of the zone. But the fastball really was good today. We saw it in the mid to upper 90s, 95, 96 at times this afternoon for Lance Lynn, and he is done after 5 innings and reaching that nearly 100 pitch mark this afternoon.
Well, our who's in, who's out pitching change, sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. The man who is in, David Robertson. You saw the man who was out, Lance Lynn.
Game number 52 for Robertson. 65 strikeouts for him in those 52 innings. He has that full repertoire: sinker, cutter, slider, curveball, and changeup. And a lot of good things happening in this Yankee bullpen. David Robertson, and the ability to bring him in the 6th inning is one of them. And you'll see that 2-seam fastball, the sinker, average around 94 miles an hour. The cutter is just a couple of miles an hour off of that at 92.
Well, good movement on ball 1 to Profar. Profar, Gallo, Chirinos this inning. Jurickson takes a healthy rip. Oh for 2 so far today. Ground out and a strikeout. Not comfortable with the timing. He feels like Robertson's trying to rush him a little bit. 1-1.
Mentioned this the other night, but with a guy like Robertson, you get the good splits. You don't worry about playing lefty-righty matchups against him, especially as a former closer. Not surprising. 171 against lefties this year, 198 against right-handers.
Profar up the middle. Oh, nice snag by Gregorius. And he throws out Profar for out number 1.
That's a really nice play by Didi Gregorius, and Jurickson Profar robbed of a base hit. Now, first of all, it was the shift. Look where he's playing right up the middle, but this ball smoked, and it's one hop, and it's all about the hands. We were talking about feet earlier and being in the right position. Well, at that point for Gregorius, it's all about the natural reaction, your ability to pick that ball and use your hands, and he did it well, unfortunately for Jurickson Profar.
So Gallo takes one low and in. Double and a pop out today for Joey. Rangers trail by a run. On one hand, you feel good. They're within striking distance. They have put a lot of balls in play. They've had base runners aplenty. On the other hand, you say, geez, could have scored some runs to this point. 1-2 the count. Well, I think anytime you're within a run in today's age, and with the lineup the Rangers trot out there, you feel like you've always got a shot. 2-2 the count.
Oh, they definitely do. Now it'll be a little bit of a challenge against this Yankee bullpen, but they're capable of it. We've gone through what the Rangers have done offensively since the All-Star break, how good this club has been, so many different areas in which they are leading Major League Baseball. You get a look at Jeff Bannister and then the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone.
Swing and a miss. Gallo chases strike 3. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. Hey, country music artist Casey Donahue is going to perform a post-game concert next Saturday, August 18th, presented by Budweiser. You can see the Angels and Rangers in a 7:05 game, and then the concert afterward. Go to TexasRangers.com/concerts for game tickets and information on how you can see Casey Donahue from the field. Now 2 outs. Here is Chirinos. And he got one up. But pops it up back behind home plate and out of play.
They're playing a little plinko over there with that pop up. It landed in the front row of the mezzanine section. Then took a big bounce, almost went into the press box, and then kicked back. Good focus by the fans.
Some of them
yeah,
scatter away from the first bounce. 0-2 on Chirinos.
Really is amazing the record time in which someone catches a foul ball and a picture is taken of that person holding the ball. Well, they're done already over there. Picture done, probably posted,
sent out. Ooh, narrow miss on that corner. That's a corner that has been there today for most pitchers, but Robertson didn't get the call.
As a cutter just finished off the plate on an 0-2 count. We talk about that a lot. Tough to get a corner called, especially a little wide on an 0-2 count.
Breaking ball misses outside. We'd love to get Chirinos on in this 6th inning, get Guzman to the plate. Ronald has walked twice so far today, coming off a 3-homer game yesterday. And Chirinos lifts this one high in the air, right side foul. Is that playable? Higashioka wants it, and he gives way to Bird. Wow. And that's the first time today that the Rangers have gone in order in a half inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 2-1. game. Martin Perez, CC Sabathia. Martin's been good his last couple of road starts. And Sabathia, a guy the Rangers have enjoyed facing over the years. So we'll see how that one goes.
See lots of sliders. CC's done a good job of kind of reinventing himself as he has gotten older. Done a nice job here for the Yankees. Be a good one against two left-handers going up against each other. I don't know if I've seen him with the bald look. Have you? The shaven head look?
Yeah.
Maybe the bald look's not the right way to phrase that, but the shaven.
Clean shave, yeah. It's getting a little jammed up. 1-1 to count on Greg Bird. Bird, RBI double in the first inning. That was a big 2-out RBI for him. In fact, right now the difference in the game. It's this ball out to right field, and that's going to get down. Chu will pick it up out there in the corner. Bird goes for 2, and he'll be in there easily with a leadoff double.
Take a look at the pitch here from Hutchinson. It looked like that pitch that was down that Bird went out and got. He did. Off-speed pitch. He hooks it down the right field line. It's just a fastball at 90 miles an hour. And was able to get out in front of it, hook it to right field, and it's a leadoff double.
So Bird's been a pretty tough customer today, and he's out there for Gleyber Torres, who had a base hit in the 4th inning. And a bit of a struggle for Gleyber Torres since coming back from his hip injury. Closest thing to a slump that he has had, coming back since July 25th. Average well below 200 during that stretch. Oh, 2 the count. Well, we get focused on the score and the fact that the Rangers down by a run, need to get something going. Drew Hutchison at this point maybe not getting enough attention for what he is doing. Give him 2 runs in the first, but has been very good. Overall, an excellent effort today. And seems to have enough in the tank to get through this 6th inning. That would be ideal.
I agree. I mean, he has done a pretty good job here. It's a tough lineup here in New York. Anytime you pitch in this stadium against this lineup, it's going to be a challenge. Those 2 runs came in the 1st inning. He throws up 4 zeros after that. He's got a little bit of a battle here now to try to work through the 6th. But yeah, I'm with you. He's done a nice job this afternoon.
A swing and a miss. He gets Torres to strike out. 1 away.
Just the 2nd strikeout of the afternoon for Hutchison, but check it out here. Elevated fastball. Nice job getting it past Torres. It appears that that is going to be it, though, for the Rangers right-hander.
Well, the Yankees, a team that Hutchison has pitched well against his entire career. His 5 wins against New York, more than any other opponent. But he is done, and he leaves trailing by a run here in the 6th. here in the bottom of the 6th inning. A man on, 1 out. And Hutchison out of the ball game. Jeffrey Springs has come on for the 4th time.
Yeah, and for the rookie left-hander, has done a really nice job for Jeff Bannister so far. It's been 3 games, 6 innings, so he is a guy that Banny has used in multiple innings so far. Very good opponent's batting average against here. That repertoire of the fastball, slider, changeup for Springs. The fastball's been averaging right around 91 miles an hour. The slider at 82, and that changeup at 79. He's done a really good job against righties, hitting just .083, and it's a pretty small sample size with just 6 innings, and the lefties have hit .286.
So the bottom 3rd of the order, Neil Walker, the 7th place hitter, steps in with Bird at 2nd base, and Springs misses just a little below the zone. Interesting for Hutchison today, by the way, is 5 1/3 innings. He started it with a strikeout of Brett Gardner. He ended it with a strikeout of Gleyber Torres. His only 2 strikeouts of the day.
Bookending an outing with strikeouts, certainly always a good thing, but it's a good day for him overall. We'll see if Springs can keep that run from scoring. That is his responsibility out on 2nd base. But you can see why Jeff Bannister wanted to get the lefty in there. Neil Walker this season hitting just .174 against lefties as a right-handed hitter.
And this ball lined out to left field. That drops in. Bird around 3rd. They'll wait him. Here comes a throw from Gallo. It's cut off. Profar goes to 2nd, and it is not in time. Walker drives in a big run, makes it 3-1 New York, and he's in scoring position.
Oh, it's a little bit of a softer base hit. Take a look at the pitch. Not a bad one. Down. Looked like it might have been 2-seam fastball. Good movement down the way, but you see how the ball kind of dies as it hits the grass. I thought maybe Joey Gallo would have had an opportunity to throw Bird out. It does not run extremely well, but the ball kind of died a little bit, made that a little bit more difficult for Joey to have a legitimate shot. 2-0 changeup that Springs probably felt pretty good about, but Neil Walker not waiting around.
RBI single. Walker moves up on the throw, and now Higashioka takes ball 1. So that run charged to Hutchison's line. Ends up allowing 3 runs today on 5 hits in his 5 1/3. 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. Yankees won the opener Thursday night. Rangers came back last night to even the series. And now New York with the lead this afternoon, 3-1, and that one is inside. Ball 2. Higashioka has walked and flied out. This guy was a 7th round pick. 2008 by the Yankees, made his debut nearly 10 years later. Big league debut last year. Was 0 for 18 last season. That's after parts of 10 years in the minor leagues. This is his 2nd call up this year. Was not hitting the ball particularly well in the minor leagues either. His average today well under 200. He takes a strike, 3-1. Not in there for his offense so much as the job he does behind the plate, the depth they need behind the plate. The 3-1 pitch. This ball out to center field. Tochi coming on, and he'll get there. Goes back to 2nd base, and not in time, but 2 away. So Shane Robinson, the 9th place hitter, also 0 for 1 with a walk. Yankees came into play today 9 games back of Boston in the American League East. Boston had a bit of a marathon game last night. They won 19-10 in Tampa. I see the standings. Rays well back of Boston. The Orioles, with a loss today, were mathematically eliminated from the East Division competition, so they're gone.
I mean, almost opposite on the record there from the Boston Red Sox. That is incredible. 47 games.
Yeah, and with as many games remaining in the season, it's the earliest a team in the divisional era has been mathematically eliminated. Combination, obviously, of two things: a really, really good season by Boston and a historically bad season by Baltimore. 2-1. It's interesting too with Baltimore. We didn't really get into this when they were just in town recently, but this is the 30th anniversary of the season in which Baltimore started 0-21. And I'm not so sure that they're not going to have a worse record this year than they had 30 years ago.
Good change up there from Springs in a 2-1 count. We've seen it now against a couple of right-handers, not afraid to throw the changeup instead of going to the fastball. Counts that you may assume there would be a fastball. 2-0 to Neil Walker. He got a base hit on the changeup, and then 2-1 there to Robinson.
2-2, and it's a full count. So the 1988 Baltimore Orioles ended up with 107 losses. That's a lot. 54 and 107. And this current Orioles team, well, they might be right in line with that. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Robinson strikes out, and that ends the 6th inning. But another run scores, and the Yankees now lead 3-1.
First inning when Stanton hit a home run in his first at-bat that put the Yankees up by a score of 1-0, and then Greg Bird came through with this RBI double in the right field gap, and it was a quick 2-0 lead for the New York Yankees. The Rangers were able to answer, though, in the third. A base hit from Elvis Andrews that drove in Chu. That's the lone run so far that the Rangers have scored. The Yankees added one more last inning when Neil Walker had a base hit that drove in Greg Bird. So it's been a 3-1 game up to this point. That is where we stand as the Rangers continue to try to fight back now against this Yankee bullpen, and Ronald Guzman leading things off here in the 7th.
And he'll look at Zach Britton, just checking in here.
There's a left-hander, game number 23, just came over from the Baltimore Orioles. A very simple 2-pitch mix. The sinker, he throws a lot of them. He'll throw the slider once in a while as well. But the 2-seam fastball, High velocity, really good movement. There's one at 95 miles an hour from Britton.
Guzman a couple of walks today. Hits his ball on the ground, second base. Torres throws him out. It's a one away, and here comes Carlos Tocci. Britton going exclusively from the stretch, as pretty much all relievers do these days. Remember, that used to be a thing.
You'll see a couple of that still do it once in a while. That'll throw out of the windup. I'm not a huge fan of that necessarily. You're always going to make your biggest pitches out of the stretch, and so I like the idea of relievers being comfortable the entire time. Guys that go back and forth, it's because they like throwing from the windup a little bit better. This conversation a couple years ago with John Smoltz, who did both, right? He was a starter, then a closer, back to starting and going through all that. He said he actually likes seeing relievers throw from the windup. He did as a closer.
Oh, comebacker, nice snare by Britton. Whoa, and he fires a fastball that just about got away from him. I tried to put a little too much on that one, but he takes care of Tocci, one away.
Take a look at this by Zach Britton. First of all, very nice play here as he gets that high hop, but almost maybe a little bit too much time to think, and then it's the crow hop and put a little on him. Might have sailed on him a little bit, but Greg Bird, no problem handling that throw at first.
Well, that thing moves just a little bit more to the left. It's going a long way. So 2 out. And Chu, who's been on 2 of the 3 times he's come to the plate. Single, a double, and flying out his last time, takes a strike. Two for 10 in his career against Britton with a couple of walks. Quickly in a hole 0-2.
Take a look at the breaking ball I mentioned. You don't see too many of them. You'll definitely see more against lefties than you will righties for Britton. But after the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, it comes right back with a good breaking ball in the strike zone.
Well, Britton, David Robertson, who was in last inning, and then going back to their starter today, Lance Lynn, in the 5th inning. They have retired 7 straight. The last Rangers hit, got to go back to the 3rd inning. Had a couple of walks since then, though. Britton's 1-2, and it is outside. Chance again, guys.
At least for one of them. The other guys, you know, he could be more of the superstitious type. Last time he broke the red jersey out.
Yeah.
Chu flew out, so he's going to keep it down.
Well, it's got a piece of that. Stays 2-2. Oh, there it is. Just hanging it this time.
Different seats too. You notice that?
Move back a row?
Yeah, one guy did. It's all part of the plan.
Part of a plan.
Yeah.
Game of adjustments, the 2-2. And it's low and in, full count.
We've seen this a few times before from Chu. Quickly down in the count, 0-2 against a tough lefty. He's gotten the count all the way back full.
No, if he can find his way on, the tying run gets to the plate here in the 7th. 3-2. And a little tapper over the mound. Charging across for Gregorius with a bare hand and can't get it. So Chu is on. That's right, raise him up. Infield hit.
Yeah, this was going to be a really tough play for Gregorius, who ran a long way. Look where he is right now, and watch where he ends up ultimately to try to barehand this ball. Just kind of missed it. Then Torres actually barehanded it. Didn't have a throw, but scared Gregorius a little bit. Watch the hustle out of the box by Chu. He knew he had a chance to beat this out, so he's going hard the entire way. And it did work. Same seats. Back down, you got to go.
Well, now Odor could make it a new game with one swing. 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes a strike, 96 miles per hour. Rugi 1 for 5 against Britton in his career with a walk. This ball hit on the ground and into right field. That's a base hit. Chu will stop at second, but back-to-back 2-out singles. Rangers trying to build something in the 7th inning.
Not only a couple of singles, but against the left-hander Britton, who had limited lefties to a .222 batting average coming into this one. Nice job by Rugi to go down and get that pitch. You know you're going to get a lot at the knees or below the zone when you're facing Zach Britton, because he relies on the sinker so much. 94% of the time he throws that pitch. Those two-seam fastballs, you rarely elevate them intentionally. Certainly Zach Britton does not. So you can look down to the zone, stay focused in the zone. Even if he throws that slider, it's going to be down. It's a nice job by Rugi to go get it and hit it hard.
Well, the Rangers have been outstanding in the second half with runners in scoring position, hitting .321 since the All-Star break. Today, though, just 1 for 8. Andrews trying to turn that micro story around, if you will. Today's epidemic around right here. 1 for 3 and the RBI single in the 3rd inning.
And you see it right there, 3 for 9 against Britton over the course of his career. This would be a real good time to make it 4 for 10.
Takes low, 2-0. Andrews in a pretty decent groove as well. Saw his 19-game hitting streak come to an end Thursday. Bounced back with 4 hits yesterday. Season high for him. And today has driven in the only Rangers run. Two and 1. Dylan Betances getting ready out in the Yankees bullpen now. Top of the 7th. Not a game or a series rather this year that has been driven almost exclusively by home runs. Bit of a pitcher's duel today. Three and 1.
Pretty amazing. We talked about the depth of this Yankee bullpen. You're able to bring in David Robertson in the 6th inning and his career 134 saves. Bring in Zach Britton in the 7th inning with his career 139 saves. And you got Aroldis Chapman sitting out there, 233. Betances, not that many, but pretty nasty right-hander.
Well, there's ball 4, and Andrews loads him up. Back-to-back singles, a walk, all of it happening with 2 outs. And they're loaded up for Adrian Beltre, and that will get a visit now. Larry Rothschild heads out there. Yankees creating a bit of a mess here.
Well, Betances, I don't think, had enough time to get ready, and they'd love to see Britton be able to work his way out of this jam anyway as a new Yankee, getting him comfortable in that role, and something he's not really used to doing at this point in his career, where you're not pitching in the 9th inning. And sometimes you think about adrenaline, whether or not that plays a part in this. Now, we made a good pitch to Chu, and Chu found a way to get on base and keep the inning alive, and then it was a Odor base hit, but then the walk. And that's the one thing with Zach Britton, as good as he is and as live as the arm is, and it's a good one, Once in a while, because that sinker lives below the zone as much as it does, you worry a little bit about command issues. Last year, he only pitched in 38 games, but the walk rate was up over 4. This year, not a lot of action, 21 1/3 innings coming into this game, but the walk rate was nearly 6 per 9. They can get away from him every once in a while. He's never really had that elite command. He had one really good year where it was big. Back in 2015, just a 1.9 walk rate, but the other years he's been a little bit more human when it comes to the command.
Well, he's created quite a spot here. Chu at third, Odor at second, Andrews at first, and the 1-0 to Beltre. That one misses. 2-0. And now he's getting into that spot where he's going to be forced to try and throw something really good to Beltre, a guy who has hit 2 home runs off him in his career. Beltre 3 for 10 against Britain, with 2 of them landing on the other side of the fence.
Adrian could really afford to kind of look up in the zone here a little bit, force Britain to elevate that fastball somewhat.
3-0. Oh, the fans clearly getting a little restless. Bases loaded, 2 out.
I like that from Adrian. He's probably taking the whole way there, even though he's got the trust to swing 3-0 if he wants to, and he probably even knew that was a strike. Kind of starts leaning and walking toward first base a little bit, just to put that in Zach Britton's head. A little gamemanship between Adrian Beltre and Zach Britton.
Another strike, full count. Beltre had a hit back in the 3rd inning, 1 for 3.
How about boos to cheers? How quickly that happened.
The biggest moment of this game by a long shot. The 3-2. Inside, ball 4, and it's a 1-run game. A bases loaded walk. Still just 2 outs. That'll bring up Jurickson Profar. Well, Aaron Boone, that's enough. They'll get deeper into that bullpen here in the 7th in a 1-run game. In the 7th inning, Rangers have the bases loaded with 2 outs. Dellin Betances still coming on.
And we mentioned the big arms in the bullpen. How about this? 85 strikeouts for Betances in 48 innings. Fastball, curveball, changeup is what you will see out of the big right-hander. The guy's having a very good year, 2.25 ERA. He's done a nice job of getting those walks under control. That was an issue for him last season. Betances is a guy who has averaged nearly 98 miles per hour on the fastball this year. The curveball at 85. The changeup around 90 this year. Changeup at 90. Must be nice.
Different kind of arm right there. Profar steps in, and he takes a strike. Well, we've mentioned it on a couple of occasions recently. Profar did not have a big series yet. 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 3 today, but he is a guy who, in these types of spots, as Jeff Bannister said, really quote unquote shows up for us. Off the outside edge, 1-1. He has 12 game-winning RBIs this year for the Rangers, and that's 4th most in the American League. He seems to choose his spots really well. Profar this year with 62 RBIs coming in and a career best 13 home runs. Hits this ball over first, but foul. Strike 2.
The pitch to keep an eye on here, especially in this count, will be the slider from Betances. He's only thrown 155 of those sliders this year. He uses it 19% of the time, but he's registered 46 strikeouts on the 155 that he has thrown. That is an absurd number. It's just an 0.45 batting average against the slider. It's a dominant pitch for Betances, even though it's the one that he uses the least.
Odor, Andrews, and Beltre, 3rd to 1st. Big right hand of Betances ready.
Ball.
Oh, do we see a balk? We did! A balk called, and this game is tied at 3. How about that?
Wow. So this is a play that's not reviewable, but obviously something happened here with Betances because he stepped off pretty quickly. As almost sometimes you do it out of guilt. You realize you did something wrong, and so you try to step off really quick and hope that nobody will notice. We'll take a look at the replay right here. Let's see if he started to come set and if that's what happened. Yeah, he's set. You know what? A little bit of movement with the hands, maybe. It's a tough call.
And he strikes out Profar on the next pitch. But just before the balk ties the game. 3-3 is the middle of the 7th inning. Time for God Bless America. And we'll turn it over to the public address announcer here at Yankee Stadium, Paul Olden.
Inning for the Rangers in the 7th with 2 outs. The infield hit from Chu, and then the base hit from Rougned Odor. Elvis Andrews walked to load the bases, and then Adrian Beltre walked to drive in a run. And then it was the balk here, but Dylan Betances that was called. Jurickson Profar made the call as well, and that is the way that the Rangers tied things up in the top of the 7th inning. So it is 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and the rookie Jeffrey Springs still out there pitching from the windup. You were just talking about that, Dave Raymond. There you go. Every once in a while, you will see a reliever that does that, more comfortable in those spots.
It's also pretty interesting too, right? How compact these little windups have become.
No doubt.
But you're right, that is a rarity.
You don't see the big swinging arms anymore over the head, the high Sandy Koufax leg kick or whatever it may be.
Daniel Megden, he's the the last remaining wackadoodle out there. Love it.
Ponchos are back out.
2 balls and a strike to Brett Gardner. There they go. And here comes Doug Brocail out to the mound.
Yankee fans certainly appreciate seeing Doug Brocail coming out. You know what it is here? He comes out, and I think what he wants to make sure is that he sees any kind of lack of confidence or nervousness, anxiousness, which would be perfectly normal for a rookie in this spot. Kind of give him that little boost a little bit. Let him know what the Rangers want to see from him here. Be aggressive. Go after Brett Gardner regardless of result. You want to see a guy be competitive. This is a big spot for him. I was talking to him the other day about coming here to Yankee Stadium, and he seemed a little excited, and, you know, talking about this stage and everything else. And as I was asking him, are there ballparks that you're looking forward to maybe pitching in, having an opportunity? Say, this is kind of a cool one here. Obviously, a lot of history, really good team, and so this is a nice test for a young man. For Doug Brocail, just that little bit of boost to say, hey, you're good enough. Go ahead, make sure you go right after him. We want to see your best versus these guys.
Gardner goes after the 3-1, but sends it up into the seats. Full count. So that rain is back. Has not been as much of a factor as we thought it might be today, at least to this point. And the Yankees led all the way until just a moment ago when the balk allowed the Rangers to tie it at 3. Payoff pitch. Fly ball center field. Tochi got a good read on it initially. Makes the play look easy. 1 away.
Let's take you back to that 7th inning, top of the 7th inning, and what happened here. Watch Rougned Odor at third base, probably trying to serve as a little bit of a distraction to Dylan Betances, and you kind of wonder if he did. As he comes set, there goes Rugi almost in a full sprint. And what the home plate umpire saw in that spot, I thought it was the hands, but it actually might have been the right leg as well. There's a little bit of a flinch in the right knee of Dylan Betances, and it does appear that Jeffrey Springs is done. Nice job.
Yep, so Bandy comes out to take the baseball. And Springs is done, did his job. Still tied at 3. All right, thanks, Rads. And now Chris Martin called upon by the Rangers. Tie game, bottom of the 7th inning.
Game number 32 for Chris Martin. Great job on the walk to strikeout ratio this year. Fastball, cutter, slider, and split finger that you'll see from the Rangers right-hander. And Martin this year, 7.6 strikeouts per night. Just an excellent walk rate, though. 1.6 walks. Ground ball rate's been 41% for him, right around league average. Just a little bit below, but the fastball so far this season averaging 95 miles per hour.
Well, I guess Giancarlo Stanton, who is homered, walked. Also flied out to right. And he drops a strike right in there. Oh, what a weird day. While Martin was warming up, the rain was really coming down. Right as we begin play, the rain stops. One. Martin yesterday got a couple of outs, but also allowed 2 runs. Gregorius and Andujar singled against him to begin the outing, and his outing ended with Austin Romine bringing both of them in. Wet bar soap. Let's change that for baseball.
Fans just relentless here as Chris Martin drops the ball, and he hears it a little bit, and you see Stanton also kind of wiping off his helmet. Now this will be interesting. We've seen we've seen the Rangers work Stanton up and in a lot with the fastball. Chris Martin goes with that cutter down and away at 91 miles an hour. And Stanton's done a good job against the right-handed curveball cutter this year. He's hit .313, but it's that fastball up and in. Just a 136 batting average on fastballs up and in, 111 on fastballs up and over the plate. This is from right-handed pitching. That's certainly the spot that you would like to go.
That's a liner up the middle, base hit for Stanton. Yankees have a big base runner on in this 7th inning. But all things considered, the worst thing that can happen with him up there.
Yep, trying to go down and away. Looked like it might have been a cutter that sat middle. Stanton drills this thing right back up the middle. Look at that kind of spin of the ball as it came back a little bit towards center field. Ball was well struck. He'll be grateful, I think, in a spot like that he was unable to elevate it, and he only gets a base hit.
So now a base runner, Gregorius, 0 for 2 with a walk. And he fouls this one back out of play. Oh, Gregorius looking to bunt. A lot of room down that third baseline. Middle of the infield, bunched up near the bag. Profar was way off the line. So Gregorius thinking, yeah, well, I'll take it if you'll give it to me.
The idea was a good one. The pitch was a bad one, though, to try it on. It was up and away. It was out of the strike zone. Anything that is up is one of the most difficult pitches to try to bunt, to get on top of it and get it down. And going after it was a good thought. And once he saw it out of the zone, he would have been better off pulling the bat back.
Now the 0-2. Fly ball. High in the air out there to right field, but not going to carry for him. Chu able to get to it. 2 away. Well, the Angels and Rangers will be getting together next weekend, and on Saturday, August 18th, at the 7:05 game. First 15,000 fans to the ballpark will take home the first ever Nomar Mazara bobblehead, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. And you can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. So with 2 away, it's Andujar, and he shoots it out to right field. That one could be trouble. Chu looks up. It's gone. 17th home run of the year for Miguel Andujar, and it's the opposite way. Gives the Yankees a 5-3 lead.
We showed you earlier the hit leaders since the All-Star break, and there was a couple of Rangers and this man right here, Miguel Andujar, on that list. Trying to go down and away. That pitch ends up being up and away at 94 miles an hour, and that level swing of Andujar gives him the opportunity to get to high pitches and especially high velocities, and he does. And this is a line shot to right field and a good piece of hitting by the Yankee rookie third baseman.
Their second home run of the year, or the game rather. Continues a trend for the Yankees. They're on pace to hit 265 home runs this season, one better than the major league record set in 1997 by the Mariners. (5-3) New York. 1-1. Birds had a good day. Couple of doubles, driven in a run, scored a run. 5 runs, 8 hits for New York. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Rangers. And Bird hits this one high in the air as well. But Tochi ranging to his right, and he'll put it away. The inning is done. 2-run score though for New York, and they have retaken the lead. We go to the 8th inning in a 2-run game.
In left field, made a very nice play. Rugnador ranging way to his left. Nice little turn there, and that throw to Elvis Andrus, and Drew Hutchison helping himself out on the ground ball and getting that 1-6-3 double play. We saw Didi Gregorius make a nice play on Jurickson Profar earlier this afternoon. That was a really nice one, showing off the hands a little bit. So both of these clubs flashing a little bit of leather. As there you see the Yankee shortstop Gregorius. He's got the shades on his hat. He will not be needing those at this point.
But he's prepared. Just in case. Well, two-run game. Joey Gallo leading it off, and he takes on the inside corner for a strike. The double earlier. Not playing yesterday's game. Comes up empty here. 0-2. This ball out to left field, but right to Gardner. One away. All right, well, you heard about the Nomar Mazara bobblehead day coming up here very shortly. Let's get an update on Nomar. What's going on, Em?
Yeah, so he started at DH last night. The night before, he played 5 innings in right field. He should be back in the lineup tonight. And in talking to Nomar last night, he said he felt good. He didn't have any hits last night, but it's not really about that. It's about getting him back in baseball shape, making sure that that thumb responds well, and it seems to have done that so far. Jeff Bannister said there's no rush to get him back up to the big league level. Basically ruled out him coming back any time before Monday at the very earliest, and then went as far as to say that he probably wanted to play back-to-back days in the field to make sure he was good and ready to go. So still a little bit of a ways to go for Nomar, but some promising news from Round Rock.
Yeah, quality at bats is certainly what you want to see. You want to make sure you're seeing the ball well, feeling good. It's not about those results for big leaguers. Anytime you go down on those rehabs, it's always difficult to kind of replicate the same adrenaline. Doesn't quite feel the same. The quality of pitching is a little bit lower than what you're going to see at the big league level. It makes a lot of sense. Back-to-back days defensively are really important. How he recovers from being out there on the field. I mentioned last night, just makes a lot of sense to be somewhat cautious at this point in the season with Nomar Mazara.
Be a good one to get back to. An offense right now that's been churning for the Rangers, and when they can throw Nomar in the mix, it really gets exciting as Betances strikes out Chirinos, 2 away. Well, I mentioned the Diamondbacks coming to town next week, Monday and Tuesday. Just a 2-game interleague series, and you can come out to the ballpark for either or both days. Great seats still available. You can get tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Only chance to see the Arizona Diamondbacks this season, currently sitting atop the National League West Division. A playoff team last year, but finished second in the division to the Dodgers. This year trying to knock the Dodgers out of that top perch. 2-0. Here on Ronald Guzman. The Dodgers have won like 5 straight division titles in the National League West. 2-1. We talked about it the other day, though. They're pretty tight near the top of that division. The Rockies only 2.5 back. Giants not out of the question. Now they're playing sub 500 baseball, but only 6 back. On the ground, right side. Picked up by Gleyber Torres, and it's a 1-2-3, top of the 8th inning. All right, last of the 8th coming. Yankees leading the Rangers by 2.
no hidden fees. That's transparency. By Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right.
That's a 2-run game as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Gleyber Torres will start things off for the Yankees, and Alex Claudio has come on out of the bullpen.
First appearance for Alex in this series. Game number 47 for him already. 28 strikeouts to those 8 walks for the sidearm lefty. 231 against lefties this year. And of course, you know with Alex, it's sinker, changeup, slider. The changeup so important to what he does. The pitches average just 71 miles an hour this year, and it is that slow changeup so effective. As you see a first pitch sinker there at 86, but that's how he neutralizes right-handed hitters. We saw that ERA a little bit higher from Alex than maybe expected this year. He's run into a little bit of trouble where a couple of these right-handers have kind of taken the opposite field approach against him. It's gotten him into a little bit of trouble.
Well, ahead here 0-2 on Torres. Torres had that base hit to start the 4th inning. He's also grounded out and struck out today. Teams have split the first 2 games of this series. We'll wrap it up tomorrow. There's a ground ball shortstop. And Andrews throws out the Yankees' second base, 1 away. And now Neil Walker. It's starting to get a little darker here. Boy, that sun came out for a spell there in the middle innings, and it was bright and shiny. And now those dark clouds have eased over the top of us again. Ground ball again to shortstop. And again, Elvis right there. 2 away. So Claudio, the 4th pitcher of the afternoon. Drew Hutchison went 5 1/3. Jeffrey Springs, a scoreless inning, allowed 1 hit. But Chris Martin, 2/3 of an inning today, gave up 2 runs on 2 hits. And that right now is the difference. 5-3. Kyle Higashioka now, who is 0 for 2 with a walk.
4 pitches, 4 fastballs, 4 strikes.
5.
Maybe 5. We've seen Alex do this. One of the things that he was so fantastic at last year was his pitch efficiency and his pitches per inning. And it seemed like his outings went really quick, inducing those ground balls, getting guys swinging. He's come out here in this one and only thrown fastballs so far. He played a huge role in the Rangers bullpen a year ago, solidifying that closer role. With a little bit of an issue last year for the Rangers, and he was so great in those big spots. What a changeup for a strikeout.
Bounce at 3rd. Profar has time. And a 1-2-3 8th inning for Alex Claudio. So last chance for the Rangers coming up. That fella, the hard-throwing lefty, coming on for New York.
ninth inning. Aroldis Chapman is in. We saw him earlier in this series on Thursday, first game into New York, and he didn't quite look the same early on. You saw him there. We talked about the expression after the fastball made you wonder if he wasn't feeling right. Didn't look like the same Aroldis Chapman that we're used to seeing. He had a visit from his pitching coach, and then he really kind of got locked in against Chu and then Odor. And it seemed like the slider is what got him back on track. Some Yankee reporters asking him about how he felt, and they were asking injury situation potentially. He shot all of that down. He said he is feeling fine, and so he is out for game number 48. And it's been a pretty good year for Aroldis Chapman. 81 strikeouts in 45 innings. I mentioned the amount of saves, up over 200 in the career of Aroldis Chapman. You got a couple of guys that are throwing in the 6th and the 7th inning with better than 130 strikeouts, and this is what this team is built for. They're looking for decent outings from their starters. They don't necessarily ask them to go late, to go long, because they got a lot of great arms in that bullpen that they can turn it over to. We'll see if Aroldis Chapman's got it back together, as he's going to face a pinch hitter in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
A 97 with a fastball, but misses in. Kiner-Falefa, and then back to the top of the order. The rain's starting to fall a little heavier now, and it's 1-1. Really, this is the heaviest we have seen it during play. One and two the count. Hard for this not to be at least somewhat reminiscent of a ball game several years ago between these two teams here. Well, that was a night game. And the Yankees had a lead late. Chapman came on. Rangers started to make a little rally in the 9th inning. It looked like Chapman was really scuffling, especially with command. And then right as it looked like the Rangers were going to push it over the top, well, the target came out. We went into a several-hour delay before eventually resuming play in the wee hours of the morning, and the Rangers won that game. A great comeback to win it. One-two to Kiner-Falefa, way up and out. It's 2-2, and at the time when they pulled that tarp out, it's just, it's one of those things, you're on the road, it just felt cheesy, man. It just felt like, come on.
Oh, really?
Come on. But it was the right thing to do. 2-2. Very high, and it's a full count.
I mean, it's got to be a little bit uncomfortable for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa or any hitter stepping in against Aroldis Chapman with this kind of arm. And I know we see more and more of these high-powered arms, but it's raining. You see him sail a couple of pitches. He's already messing now with his spikes. So you worried about, is he comfortable? Is he locked in? A little bit unsettling.
Now the payoff. And there's ball 4. So it gets the potential tying run to the plate here in the 9th inning. Well, that's step 1. Well, you just detailed what happened the other night with Chapman, and he did not quite look right. The command was off a little bit early until he started throwing that slider and got the feel for that, and then that really changed the game. He was fastball crazy at first and just couldn't seem to find the strike zone, and they got the feel for that slider, and it was curtains.
It's not an uncommon thing to happen to some pitchers where, you know, you have the high-powered fastball, or even any fastball for that matter. Your arm slot doesn't feel right, release point is off, and then you go out and you go to something else. A lot of times your catcher will force you to kind of throw that off-speed pitch, whatever it may be, to get you back locked in, and that seemed to work really well for Chapman the other night.
He gets a fastball in for a strike to Chu. 3 hits today for Chu. Scored a couple of runs. 0-2. All right, rain letting up just a smidge. Lights are on. The 0-2. Chopper down the first baseline, foul. Kind of Falefa off first. The 0-2. That slider misses up.
Like Chapman slowed down on that one a little bit as if he tried to guide it there. That's certainly not where he wants to miss. If anything, prefer to put that slider away off the plate or at least down below the zone.
Strike pre-called. So that one able to carve off the top of the zone for a strikeout. One away.
Yeah, and Chu knew it right away. It's that late break that you get on the good slider from Aroldis Chapman. Again, trying to go down away, but he was able to catch the top of the zone. Unintentional on the location, but still effective.
Shift on now for Odor. And Duhar, the only man on the left side of the infield. He plays a more or less traditional third base. First slider, a little bit high for a ball. Chapman struck out Odor for the final out of that ball game on Thursday. Rookie's never had a hit against him. 1-1. Odor scored a run, walked, has a base hit. He's had some really good at bats today. He's seen a lot of pitches. Big lefty sets in the 1-1 pitch. And a ground ball through the left side, base hit. The tying runs are on base. Odor's first hit against Chapman in his career. And this inning starting to set up a little bit.
Well, nice job by Rugi. You're sitting here, you're facing high velocity with Aroldis Chapman. That one is up and away, but Staley just keeps the head right on it. And we talked earlier about the shifts that we've seen from the Yankees. With 2 strikes, there's a good chance that Andujar would have been over there. At least that's what we have seen so far today. But in that count, and just 1-1, they're closer to third base. It's a really nice at bat by Rougned Odor. He's done a good job today with his at bats. Mentioned those pitches that he has seen. Now a couple of hits and a walk.
Yeah, not a flashy day, but a very workmanlike day. And it's been productive. And now Elvis Andrus. Well, fastball's upper 90s so far for Chapman. Not the absurd 103s that you sort of get accustomed to seeing. Elvis drove in a run in the 3rd inning. Saw just a moment ago there his numbers with runners in scoring position very good. 9 for his last 26 in these spots. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, 45,933 the paid attendance for this afternoon's game. And a lot of them still here, just tucked under the overhangs. The concourses looking on, trying to stay out of the rain. Kind of Falefa second, Odor first. And Andrews turns that foul. Stays 0-2.
Seems like Chapman is having a hard time getting that slider down out of the zone. That's where the target was. 0-2 count, trying to bury it. Couldn't get it all the way there, and it's a nice job by Elvis to keep the at bat alive. Look where the glove is. It's a good pitch. Still not as far down as he would like it.
Another 0-2. And this one popped up. Infield fly rule should be in effect. It is. 2 away.
It's been raining all day, and it's really starting to. It's been coming down, I should say, this inning, but really starting to kind of pile up a little bit. It's the first puddle that we have seen today. Now that's in foul territory down the left field line. Kind of wonder if that's the way it's directed, the fact that there's only a puddle right there.
Well, drainage area perhaps. Well, here is Adrian Beltre. He takes low one in. You see the 1 for 3, but he also had a bases loaded walk in the 7th inning. It then led to a balk moments later that tied the game. 1-0.
How about this slider? Oh, that's out of the strike zone. Adrian's got to be frustrated with that, working hard against a really good closer with a live arm. That is definitely not a strike. But it's slider so far to Beltre. He's been very good against high velocities over the last 2 years, 96 and higher, 16 for 51. That's good for a 314 batting average.
Now this is fun. One of the game's all-time greats at the plate in the form of Adrian Beltre, and one of the game's elite power arms out on the mound in Chapman. The 1-1 pitch fouled away. And that'll get them back to their feet.
That was 100 miles an hour right at the knees of Adrian Beltre, and so the slider would be very effective in that spot, especially because of the earlier call, but also the idea of maybe elevating a fastball is something Chapman may want to do.
Time called. Beltre, the active career hits leader, 3,135 in his soon-to-be Hall of Fame career. Closing in on Tony Gwynn, guy who makes it tough on a lot of pitchers over the years. This is 21st season. 1 for 2 in his career against Chapman. Here comes the pitch. Whoa, that one got him. Oh my, 100 miles per hour. Ouch. They are loaded up.
You don't see Adrian Beltre get frustrated too often. He runs down to first and he looks fine, and Kevin Harmon's now going to have to chase Adrian down to first base. It's a double check and make sure that he's okay. Adrian's saying that he's fine, but you got to check on a guy anytime he gets hit by 100 miles an hour. Well, Kevin knows what it's like with the rain out there today. Take a look at this. Ooh.
Good night.
Gosh darn it. Adrian's
Right above the knee on the right leg.
He's got a really strong lower half.
No.
Look at, yeah, look at, I caught him in
leg.
the left leg. Thankfully above his knee.
Ooh. I'll put some ice on that a little later. Wow. Bases are loaded for Jurickson Profar. Now he had a big opportunity in the 7th with the bases loaded and 2 out. At the time the game was tied. And we mentioned at the time that Profar is that guy who has stepped into these spots on so many occasions and delivered. 12 times he has produced the game-winning RBI, oftentimes late in the game. Down by 2, bases loaded, and he takes a slider in. Ball 1.
Take a look at this pitch, this slider, and I think this is a pretty good call. It was close, but ends up finishing in off the plate.
A base hit to the outfield could tie this game. 2-0. And some activity now. Jonathan Holder beginning to get loose for the Yankees.
So you surprised not to see Drew Robinson running for Adrian after he took that ball off the leg, and you wait till he gets in a scoring position? It's kind of tough.
Yeah, he's the go-ahead run.
Yeah,
is the thing, and I hear you.
Him and Calhoun, they're left on the bench.
Oh, inside. No, strike called. 2-1. That was right on the edge.
Well, it's a good take. You certainly don't want Jurickson Profar swinging at this pitch. Up and in, probably, I'd say borderline at best, but not a lot you can do with that pitch, I think, in a 2-0 count.
Rangers 2 walks and a single against Chapman here in the 9th inning, down by 2. High, 3-1. Boy, how about this? And Chapman closing in on 30 pitches already. And there's what's waiting on deck for him. Joey Gallo already has a double in today's game. Full count. Connor Falefa at third. Odor at second. Beltre at first. There they go. The 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Well, Chapman made that one interesting. The Rangers put up a great fight in the 9th inning. Loaded the bases, but couldn't get those key runs home. 5-3. Yankees take game 3 of this 4-game series. Well, that was a fun one today. A little more pitching as a part of the story this afternoon. In fact, John Radigan, Mark McLemore, Mike Bassick will relay some of that story and break it all down for you here momentarily. For CJ Nikowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond. Thank you for joining us today. Stay with us. More Rangers coverage coming up right after this.